are live.
All right, y'all. Welcome to All Politics of Local America's number one political hip hop radio talk show. Y'all know if it is Friday, and particularly y'all know if it is the third Friday. Y'all know it's time for, of course, our beloved brother, the one and only Mayor Raz J. Baraka. I'm almost compelled to call him Governor J. Baraka, but I don't want to get ahead of myself on the brother. But
Woo, it got some people nervous.
but
They're nervous
absolutely.
all up and down New Jersey.
hold on a second, y'all also know that the word of God tells us to speak those things that be not as though they were. So
Speak.
so, but anyway, of course, the mayor's gonna be up first. So we're gonna get the show started and wait for our brother to chime in. And then what's coming up after that, John?
All right,
At
so
7?
at 6 o'clock, we're going to have the mayor's forum. At 7 p.m., we're going to have Dr. Stephanie Harris of the Africana Studies Department of Seton Hall and Todd Burrows, who's a professor, Dr. Todd Stephen Burrows, who are going to talk about what's going on at Seton Hall University and what's new, right? Then at 7:30, we're going to have Larry Hamm, U.S. Senate candidate and chairman of the People's Organization for Progress, talk about his U.S. campaign, but
He's
also
got the
talk
number
about
2 slot on the ballot now. We are looking at the
wow.
beginning of the end of the line in New Jersey. It can have serious implications for this race. Do not dismiss this friend of ours because he ain't got no Democratic Party big money.
Mm.
Mm.
We are
Oh, so we're going to
nearly
talk
over
about
the
that
line.
too in terms of the line
Woo!
and the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got a message from Ryan Haygood the other day talking about their advocacy for getting rid of the line and what that and many people don't know what that means. So Zaid, you'll be able to break that down.
We'll
I'm
talk
sure
about
with
it
Larry
after the
Ham
show.
at
We're going to
7:30.
on
Absolutely. At 8 o'clock, we're going to have Rahaman Muhammad come in and to talk about Big Rocs and the importance of quality small businesses. That should be a great discussion. Many people who know
that. Is this the
Rahaman
same
Muhammad,
Deputy Mayor Rahman Muhammad?
yes, we know him as deputy mayor. We know
Oh,
him as a
good. He
union
coming
leader,
back.
a national union leader. I think people don't know that about him, that he
Yeah,
really
probably
led
got serious labor
a
back.
national
Yeah.
head of a union in the things that he did. So always honored to have him on. And we're going to have him on at 7:30, actually. Larry Hamm's going to be coming on at 8 o'clock. And at 8:20, we're going to have Chloe Desir from the Ironbound Community Corporation come on and talk about Saturday's March. So at 7:30, we're going to have Rahman Muhammad come on. At 8 o'clock, we're going to have Larry Hamm come on. And at 8:20, we're going to have Chloe Desir from the Ironbound Community Corporation come on. And then at 8:35, we have DJ Rhino in the State of Hip Hop. So it's always a full lineup. It's always a full night. And that's what we have jumping off.
All right. So we started talking a little bit about this level of deception that's going on in Israel right now, right? And so you sort of see what Israel and what's going on in Iran. And so folks are saying, don't get caught in the 3-card Monte. Don't be paying attention to this card while this other card is actually still moving ahead, right? And while all the other governments, particularly in the United States, are telling Netanyahu not to continue his march into Rafah
Right.
because you have 1.5 million people who are stranded and who are starving and have nowhere to go.
Mm.
And it's not listening. So, but he planned on, annihilating 1.5 million people. And the whole world is saying, don't continue that march on. And he's not listening to anyone. He's not even listening to his own people, right? Even Schumer came and said that there should be a ceasefire, but that's you know
That's
I mean,
only a consequence of people raising hell in Schumer's district,
Right. And,
right?
and
Led by Jewish Voices for Peace amongst those folks shutting down Grand Central Station and so forth.
yeah, yeah,
We can't
yeah,
dismiss
so
we can't dismiss the X factor that is the people. we have a full-fledged peace movement in the form of Palestinian solidarity.
Mm.
Black, brown, white, intergenerational, you know, liberal to straight up socialist, and I mean, broad spectrum, you know, looking a lot like 68 in the fight against Vietnam back then, right? And people paying the price for their being outspoken too, right? Ilhan Omar's daughter, who's at Columbia University, supposed to be one of the most liberal Ivy League schools in the world, just had 100 students arrested, several faculty members taken off posts, and I mean, black mayor, Puerto Rican police chief, Arab school president, at
And
the
Yeah.
beck of the Israeli lobby that's going buck wild on our kids for daring to stand up for the First Amendment. Does the First Amendment end when we talk about Israel? Or is that where we are in this country?
That's what it seems.
Well, you don't want to have a conversation about the First Amendment with me, Zaid, because I've been following the brothers.
Who you be? Who this guy?
I've been following the brothers who had some problems with the First Amendment. His name's Mumia Abu Jamal. You might remember he's had a couple problems implementing the First Amendment over the last few decades. I know you don't want to have that conversation.
I'm trying to get Negroes back to the Second Amendment. See.
Oh, and just as an introduction, introducing Dr. Todd Stephen Burrows, who I've jumped on to this segment because he can always add positive things to our conversation.
Okay, guys, look, I'm trying to finish my syllabus at Wayne State. Actually, my syllabus is on Black social and political thought.
Wayne
right?
State.
So I'm in that mode. Let me show you.
Congratulations, man.
Hold on, let me show you the books I'm using, guys. Hold on, let me grab
Wayne State in Detroit, Michigan.
Yep.
A bastion of black student radicalism once upon a time.
Yes.
What years are you looking at, Todd?
So, I'm sorry?
What years are you looking at Wayne State?
What do you mean, how many years I've been there?
No. You said you're doing your work. I hope I didn't hear you wrong.
No, I'm teaching at Wayne State.
Oh.
No, I've been an adjunct at Wayne State now for about 2-3 years. And I'm an adjunct at Seton Hall. So here are the books I'm using. I'll show you these books. Ashley Farmer's
have it right over here.
Remaking Black Power
in a few months. Yes, she got a new book coming out on Queen Mother Moore.
This brand new book by Keisha Blaine, Wake Up America. Black women look at American democracy.
Right on. I don't have it.
And one of my favorite books for at least 30 years, Zaid, you know this book, Voices of a Black Nation, Political Journalism in the Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah.
So those are my texts for Wayne State. Gentlemen, let me before I go back to that, which I want to do at 6:30. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity for being here. I'm normally in the chat, as you know, so it's weird that I'm here because I normally like being in the chat. That's what I'm like almost 304 weeks I'm in the chat, right? So it's weird to be here. I'm glad to have taken this time. Jonathan, I've been spending the week, mourning Gambit and Magneto. You know what I'm talking about.
I have not seen the latest episode, so you can't really, I did not see Wednesday's episode.
You've read the comics from the mid to late 80s, so you know what I'm talking about. They've been implementing a lot of things. Changing a lot of things around, but they've been implementing a lot of things. Of course, we're talking X-Men right here, gentlemen. For those people who are not comically inclined, geek inclined, we're talking about X-Men here. So, I'm glad to take a break from that just to kind of give an assessment, which I think, because we have so much information, but we're not giving assessments, and it's taken me a while. I'm 56, but it's taken me a while to find my thing to say. Like, John Henry Clark always had those things he said, like, history is a clock, blah, 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 blah. I think my big thing to say is we have information now. Now we need assessments, right? So let me give an assessment of where I think we are and where Black Studies falls into that and what the current temperature is. I wish I could tell you about what's going on in Seton Hall, but as an adjunct who spends a lot of time writing and researching, I just know that Stephanie Harris is doing a great job. and she's happy to be there, and the students are very happy to have her. And they're organizing events. They're having a kind of an academic expo next Wednesday, and I just found that out from an email that Reverend Pritchard sent me. So I know that things are developing in terms of our department, and I know in my department in Wayne State, we just got a $5 million grant to produce a Center for Black Detroit.
Oh wow!
So what's going on with Africa?
Fascinating history. Fascinating history.
Right.
Fascinating Black radical history, Detroit.
And Herb Boyd has done the book on Blacks in Detroit, and so you should be checking that out. And by the way, Zaid, I know you know that Herb Boyd and Don Rojas, the next book, Herb's next book, I don't know if it's 25 or 35, right? It's about the CIA and Malcolm. Yeah. And that's coming out. And that's not even pointing out that Mike Africa has a new memoir coming out about the Move 9 and him growing up as a child of the Move 9. And then Mumia Abu-Jamal somehow is coming out with book number 14, an anthology on anti-prison writings, his first anthology as a co-editor. So there's a lot of
70 on April 24. We shutting Philly down. Be there or be square.
Yeah, it's shutting Philly down. Y'all say that, but y'all do a good job occupying that one corner y'all occupy. maybe
in the goddamn town, no, damn it.
Maybe you'll shut it down, but if y'all don't shut it down, y'all at least got this little corner. You do good with that little corner.
The DA's office. We starting at City Hall, and we're gonna find wherever they move the damn governor's office that they punk asses.
I mean, Krasner's a easy target. I mean, so I understand that. And then thank you very much for the plug, Zaid. But let's get to an assessment. Like I said, this is my new pet peeve, and I think it's going to become my thing. As an older person, I get to be a crank, and so the crank thing I have is about assessment. So let's do an assessment of why everything is so tumultuous, and why. Oh wait, is the mayor showing up? Should I come back?
Well, yes, but you can of course, Todd, you can always remain. So, but welcome, man.
Are you all right, Mayor?
Look, yeah, I'm good.
Let me give a 5-minute version of what I would have said in 15 minutes, and then I'll go back to my syllabus in America.
You're gonna be on that. You're gonna be on that 6 with the assessment thing, right? So we're gonna have you back with Dr. Harris, but you can stick on.
But no, Dr. Harris is not showing up. It's just me. So if you want me to come back.
Absolutely,
I'll do that. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, but permutation. You can do both. You can stick around now, and just at 7, we'll focus on what on your segment. But you can be you're a part of our host. So
now I'm gonna go back to writing my syllabus at Wayne State, and I'll let the mayor talk, and I'll come back at 7, or I'll come back when the mayor's done. If the mayor's not done at 7, I'll wait till he's done.
Fair enough.
All right, gang. So I'll see you guys a little bit later.
Take care, man. Hey, welcome.
Peace, man.
What's going on?
You, brother. You.
We're looking at someone who just changed the governor's race, and I'm always saying that Joe Biden actually needs exactly what you're saying in that national conversation in order to get reelected. I do not know why you have not been. Why you're not a surrogate, right? Because it seems like that serves 2 things. There's no one talking about issues of safety, crime, economic redevelopment. I saw you on you were with the person who's running for the Republican nomination, and that was just fun. Y'all were just talking about policy.
Are you talking about Cinerelli?
Yeah, I was on Cinerelli.
Yeah.
And the way in which you were just laying it out, like, this is what we've done in Newark, this is what the rest of the nation should be doing, this is what the state should be doing, right? Or you were like, this is what we did in Newark, this is what the state should be doing. But you could just as easily flip that to, this is what the nation should be doing. And if the Biden administration was talking like you were talking, you wouldn't be behind in the polls.
Well, I mean, I think the problem is, the Democrats say all of this stuff. Some of them just don't believe it. Well, most of them probably don't believe what they say, and that's the problem. And these Republicans are right on the they on their talking points. And I mean, even if they sound crazy and bizarre, you know, they're gonna stick to them, and they say it with force and such confidence that people actually believe that the nonsense they're talking about is actually making sense. I talk to some people, they be like, well, you know, the economy is better under them, which is not true, but they say it so much and with so much confidence that people actually believe this. Like they say, oh, millionaires are leaving the state of New Jersey. First, that's just not true. The businesses are leaving. That's also not true. But they say it with such confidence that it makes people believe that it's true. You know, and then they walk around quoting the talking points, and then the Democrats chasing after them, trying to sound like them, but not as bizarre, as opposed to saying, you know, this is not the truth, right? And really pushing their ideas, but they scared to sound too, you know, too progressive or too to the far to the left. They're so scared to do that. You know, they're chasing voters who are never going to come. They're just never going to come. And they're like a lot of independent folks who, you know, trying to figure out, well, what do you believe? Which way you going? Like, you can't keep saying Trump is the problem. You actually have to present something else. Right.
You gotta have a program. You got to stand up on who the hell you are.
Right. You can't just like, that was a problem. Like, you know, when Hillary was running against Trump, they called all of the mayors to New York City. And I went over there, and our people were there. They were talking about like talking points that we should go back. Obviously, you see, it didn't work. Talking points that we should go back and tell people in the community. And 90% of the talking points was about how horrible Trump is and how dangerous things are going to be. The problem is everybody in there knew that already.
Right.
And people were saying to them, well, I mean, that's right, but how do I get people excited about Hillary and not just mad about Donald Trump? Because what will happen is people will stay home and won't participate in it at all. And what we saw happen to her and the Donald Trump's election will happen. Like, he won. Like, how did you? It can't just be about how ugly he is. We have to actually present something different, and that's really what it is. And you can't convince. I don't care. You can't get black people, working people, especially our folks, to come out just telling them how horrible things are going to be, because we lived through horrible all our lives.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey man, what's new?
Right. Whereas
You know?
I thought when you were at that conference, when you were just breaking things down, you were offering a what is a practical progressive? Like when you were talking about businesses, you were like, no, New Jersey has certain things that people want to be here for, right? They have
Right.
ports, we have all this transportation, and it has to be paid for, right? We have to invest in our infrastructure inside New
Right.
Jersey, because that, I mean, it was just it was just true, right? Like it is the
Yeah, it's
reason
logical.
why. You were saying?
Yeah, and the guy, those people are so nutty. Like, they say this stuff over and over again. Like I said, like, so they want the infrastructure. They understand that business functions because of infrastructure. People got to move around the state. They have to do this. We have the most densely populated corridor in the entire nation. Or Northeast Corridor has more people traveling up and down it than
Is he breaking up?
the people.
No, I think you were breaking up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Breaking up.
Yeah, keep in mind that he's driving, so you're probably going through different spots.
Yeah, you think you might be going to a spot.
Am I breaking up? Can you hear me? You
We can
hear
hear
me
you
now?
Yes.
Yeah, that 50% of the people that are on New Jersey Transit make $35,000 a year on average. A 15% rate hike is ridiculous. Now you really got to increase the minimum wage. You're saying you don't want to, so none of this stuff works. How are working people going to pay for $1 billion infrastructure? Because that's how much it costs to run New Jersey Transit. $1 billion. How are we going to pay for that? We can't. It's unsustainable, right? And to put it on working people and and poor folks in the state is ridiculous. And somebody just needs to say that.
Great big tax break is insane. The Murphy's Law.
Ridiculous. And to say, oh, and so they talk about the CBT, but they count on the fact that people don't know what none of this is. So the corporate business tax, they tax sales. And they say, oh, the businesses are going to leave the state. First, they haven't. But secondly, even if they leave the state of New Jersey, the law is whatever you sell in New Jersey is going to be taxed. I don't care if you were in Acapulco, you still got to pay that. So it doesn't matter. And these folks, they say this stuff and they hope that, it goes over people's heads and nobody says anything. It sits there. And nobody addresses it, right? Because they want to attack. This guy said that we should build affordable housing. It should just be in the 7 cities in the state.
That was
that's
probably
the
one of the most hilarious parts.
I mean, that's just straight out racist.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So we can laugh at it.
The way he was talking about
that.
Right. The way he was talking about this building in Newark or building in Camden, that could be the affordable place, but our suburbs, I'm like, man, is that really coming out of your mouth? That's coming, and you called it.
And Mayor, I know
you got to check them though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That all of the 7 cities have met their affordable rates a long time ago, and when we choose to do it,
well, I told them that up there. I said, I wonder why that is. They said, y'all don't have to do it. I said, yeah, I wonder why. They're not used to responses like that. Like the guy goes, I used to live in Newark, but I moved out. I said, you probably got subsidized. And my father didn't have the same hue as yours, so we couldn't get that subsidy you got.
That's right.
So,
again,
I mean, these guys.
I was going to say, I think everybody needs to see that clip. If that clip could be edited, spliced, and start putting it out, right? Because the responses were so spot on.
Where is it supposed to see it? Where'd you see it, Jonathan?
Oh, I mean, it's published online. I have it it's on my Facebook page. There are some people who've edited some clips and put clips out. But I think that is probably one of the most powerful. It's a powerful contrast between, be honest, it's a powerful contrast between mainstream Democrats, Republicans, and a real progressive vision that we don't really hear in this country, but a practical progressive vision, right? Because it was like, no, this is really practical. These are things that we do that work. These are things we did in Newark that have worked. Businesses have come. We are building housing in Newark. We are doing these things. It was just masterful in that you were talking about progressive policies. You were talking about the need for certain types of taxation. And at the same time, you were talking about it because it's worked. It's working. We're not running away businesses. They're coming to Newark. So I'll post that again. We'll post this to see it. But I think that was so powerful when I watched it from beginning to end. And I think that should be spliced up and sent different places because that was it was on point.
And Mayor,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Going back to when we looked, even Hillary was so confident that she was going to win. And we know that they chose. Can you hear me? You good? Can you hear now, Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay, so after Hillary and Trump, people chose charisma. The numbers chose charisma over her. What do I want to say? Her being a smart person. They just dismissed, how capable she was to run the country. And we got it confused. You're not going to bed with Hillary. You're like her because she's going to support your ideals. And I think that we have to say that, you in the circles that we know that people, this is no time to get lazy and not vote or take things for granted. Nobody should really take things for granted, especially us, but they have to come out and vote. And if we ever can get Essex County and cities like Essex and New Jersey, cities like the urban cities in different states to vote in big numbers, and sometimes it was those states that carried the president over this time. But we have to let people know their vote does matter. And
No,
you do.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I wish you can talk to different places more. Just go out on the tour why we must vote and do that because that's
We are
important.
actually we out every Saturday. Last Saturday we were uh in Ewing.
Hmm.
This Saturday we're gonna be in Lawnside, New Jersey. You know,
Okay, beautiful.
My
so
uncle was
we
once
moving
president.
around the state,
My
talking and
name
trying to energize people.
Okay.
So
my
that's what we're doing.
my
And are y'all
grandfather's
taking?
really
Okay.
brother, my late Uncle James Bryant, once upon a time was mayor of Lawnside, a little town that grew up on the Underground Railroad. He died in his fourth term in office as the mayor of Lawnside. My grandfather's little brother, James Bryant. I have a
Hmm.
lot of love for him. I've been there years. All my relatives are gone now,
So,
but it's a town that's got an
wow,
incredible history.
And do you have a bus if
deep, deep
people want to
history.
go with you?
That's a good point. No, we got to start putting that together.
Okay.
People from Essex County, there's a lot of people from Newark that have been following us at these events, but we really
Hmm.
been trying to focus on the people in that area and
Okay.
those areas we go to and pull
Hmm.
them out. But you know,
Right.
it's some faithfuls that get on that highway and come on down. We've
Right.
had two guys from Warren County all the way up top who have single one of these events we've had
Okay.
all the way up top, you know, in northern New Jersey. Like, listen, we coming, you know,
Okay.
because that's exactly what that's exactly what we need. But we just trying to organize the people in those areas to come on
Hmm.
out and just energize them and you know let them know what's going on. You know, the event that Jonathan was talking about, that was in Atlantic City. It was a audience full of folks that were business owners in the state of New Jersey who invited the two Republican candidates, Bramnick and Chitterelli, and three of the Democrats. But
Hmm.
the other two guys didn't show up. So they
Meaning
left me
Chitterell.
there. No, Sweeney and Phillip were
Oh,
supposed to be there as well, but they never showed. So they left me there. I thought it was some kind of conspiracy.
right.
But it's all good because
Yeah.
I just dealt with both of them.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
I
Sound like
sat
you
right
having
in
a
the
salad.
middle.
Yeah, I
That's
just
right.
posted it. I just posted it on our in the comments so that people could just click and go see it. I'm also going to post it. We'll post it also on the All Politics or Local pages. But I really do think that everybody needs to see that. It was convincing because every like the tactic against you is going to be, oh, he's progressive and scary. He's progressive
Right.
and scary, right? But really, it's like I'm progressive and practical. I'm a mayor. I've got to be practical. And it's worked because here's why, right? From the stance on crime and the Office of Violence Prevention to the things that you're doing in terms of housing and drawing business in, but still saying they need to pay taxes, but they're not going to leave because here's what we offer, right? I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
more people. You were saying?
No, I say that's right. I mean, they thought they was gonna get on there and just pummel me and make me look crazy, but ultimately, or run from what you believe, and that's what the Democrats' problem is. They run from what they supposed to believe, as opposed to defending what it is they believe.
Capitulationists.
Right.
What Daddy used to say. Capitulationists.
Well,
Yeah,
also, okay, I'm sorry, Ed.
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to also say that we have to stop talking about a third party when it's election season. We got to have discussions at the appropriate time. And it's not time, that's just taking us off course when it's the election time. But as soon as the election happens and we are successful at getting our person in, and then we can start talking about that third party. But we have to, because it's getting crazier and crazier, with us going against one another as opposed to staying on focus, just like the Republicans did. And Congressman Payne would always say they had 4 5 things, and now 4, because they talked about one, and that was the abortion. They were successful on that one, and they stay focused for years on topics till they push it through. So we have to stay on focus and just be on mission.
They definitely on talking points. I mean, being up there with those guys, you could see that they on the talk, that they stay to those talking points. And even Bramnick, who's trying to make himself seem like a moderate Republican, when you start getting into the issues, they can't avoid or help themselves from start talking about the kind of right-leaning things that they have in common. When you start talking issues, right? When you push them, then it's going to, right? The problem is these guys don't get pushed. We let them say what they're going to say.
Reading out Tariq, I'm sorry.
Al Tariq Kenny's blowing up the chat for you. Right? He's clearly in the building.
Yeah,
theoretically, you were talking from record and being practical as it relates to the state. Right on, Al Tariq.
And at the same time, letting us know he's a daddy's girl.
but let me just interject for a minute, John. I want to point something out, because I want us to be clear. Primarily, when you talking about how the mayor's moving around the state and so forth, but I want us to be clear. They're not only moving around the state, but Mitty is doing very strategically. He's registering people to vote, man.
Mm-hmm.
So as they're moving around the state, they're getting people registered to vote, making sure that people are registered to vote. Remember what the mayor said a couple of shows back, where he talked about the real goal is if we can grow this base, right? And that's what these cats are afraid of, right?
Mitty is advancing the ground game.
Right. And they're afraid of that because the truth is they can't beat the mayor based on ideas, right? They can't beat them based on ideas. So they've got to beat him another kind of way. But if we grow the base, right? Mitty, and you know this, John, that he know numbers, right?
Right.
And that's really what it's about. So, and the reason folk don't want to give the mayor the opportunity really to be on the stage. So when them guys don't show up, them guys ain't showing up because they just got something else to do. No, they know that their ideas can't match the man. I'm not saying that because he's our brother, but I'm telling y'all straight out, right? Anybody that get on the stage, if they can't match his ideas, right? They just gonna have to make shit up.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Go ahead.
I think them guys ain't want to come because the audience wasn't our audience. It was a more conservative audience, and they thought that it wasn't going to go over well. But we've been born behind enemy lines, so at the end of the day, I felt like, and Mitty felt like we need to go down there. Like this is a perfect opportunity for us to practice. Let's get into the battle of it right now. Like let's hit them with it early on.
And I think that was a shot that had to be heard, because is there a possibility or a chance that you would be a Biden surrogate? Have they talked to you? I've
Probably
asked you
not.
this question
No.
before, but they're just
not.
not.
Probably not. Yeah, I'm a delegate for New Jersey, so I got to go to the convention, but probably not a surrogate. I don't know if they're ready for that. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know who organizes these people's campaigns, but they have no real excitement. Even around the basic things that he's done that are actually good, like trying to cancel student debt and continuously trying to pay down that student debt, right?
Yeah.
By giving money to HBCUs or, making sure these cities didn't fall apart in the middle of COVID. Like all of these things that happened, all those ARP dollars that went straight to cities that kept businesses afloat and kept cities afloat. These are talking points that he should be talking about aggressively. But
now it's funny. They're doing an HBCU tour around Hillman's 50 years with the vice president. Have you been able to participate in that? And were her going out and talking and you guys coming from, that's where I think, yeah.
No, I mean, the vice president is going to go to those. Well, I think it's smart for her to go to those universities and try to rile up the college students to get them to be involved and engage and vote and get even their parents to vote. But I think that's a smart strategy. They just have to play up the things that they've done right and, begin to be aggressive. They got to be on the offense. And they think the offense is attacking Donald Trump. When the offense is just really pushing what it is you would do and contrasting your views and what's possible under your administration as opposed to what's going on in these other folks' ideas and in their head.
And you are on the ground for all that, right? Because when you're talking about, look, there was aid to cities that went on there, that caused cities to not go bankrupt, right? You were like, hey, there's the infrastructure bill that copied a lot of the things that Newark did in terms of making sure that public money can go to remove bad water pipes on private systems, right?
That's big. And that's
the Office of Violence Prevention, that's federal, that started, right, based on these local Office of Violence Prevention, state, then federal. Like there's so much that you could talk about in terms of the Biden administration that offers very practical, progressive ideas that have worked.
And especially since they're using your ideas. And since they're using them, they took your lead paint idea and it's on, while it hasn't even hit most of our municipalities, the federal government has taken it on as a project. So they've already taken your ideas and using them. So why won't, if they can use your ideas, they can use you.
Well, people always believe in broad-based coalitions. They just don't believe we should lead them. Right.
Wow,
so
fair.
Yeah, they agree that we should have coalitions and great ideas. We are supposed to bring ideas to the table, not execute them. That's really what the problem is.
Well, that's for them. That's the big.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Mayor, I know.
And the sad thing is we believe that as well. But go ahead.
I was going to say, well, I know. Bringing dollars to Newark, you have done tremendous. I was in the room the other night watching Gabrielle Union's new movie, The Perfect Find. And I'm like, oh, shoot, that's Halsey Street. And I know you have several movies that are coming through Newark, which means tax dollars. And to the point, some of my colleagues at the court were bragging about when you did the Joker, the Joker, the whole, team, they pay people to stay home for a week so they can get that movie done. So in terms of those tax dollars, you are doing it great. And I wish we could one day talk about all the movies, because I just happened to jump out of my bed. I was like, oh, shoot, that was Halsey Street. So I'm sure there's more, especially because more films are coming out because there's more opportunities.
And then we're gonna have our own film studio there. So they're gonna actually be able to make the film from beginning to end, right by Seth Boyden. So they're gonna do the whole thing from the beginning to the end, right there
in Newark. That's right.
But also, let's also be clear. The mayor, he's talking about the vision of turning the city into a 24-hour destination place again, right? When Newark was popping, right? Remember, they made the mayor the boogeyman when he first came in. Remember, they all said everybody was going to run away from the city. Y'all remember that?
Right. The ledger ran from the city.
Yeah.
Right.
And
we needed them to do that.
Running too.
What'd you say, man?
We we might have needed them to do that, but legend.
Oh, and then try to start talking about diversity after they don't run away from us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
but
exactly.
but the truth of the matter is that Newark, because all of us who decided not to run from the city and to stick with the man through the city, what's happening now is that we've got more growth right in the city than we've ever had, and people are talking about it all over the world, right? Not just in other states, but you got people all over the world talking about it.
Right.
And the biggest thing is that all of those fights that the man was having when he was an activist based around violence, right? Think about now we've got shit traveling all over the country talking about what we're doing here, and they're looking at us as a model.
Now with DC just a couple of days ago. Keisha was one of the mainliners of the Community Justice National Conference, right? And major training at the White House through the Department of Justice, right? And walked a lot of folks from around the country through that process, right? Straight out of nowhere, baby.
And let me ask a question, man. Is Keisha the youngest deputy mayor we ever had?
He may be.
I don't know. It's a good question.
He might be the youngest deputy mayor.
Huh?
He might be the youngest deputy mayor.
Who?
Oh yeah,
Mayor,
I was when I was deputy mayor, I was pretty young.
Yeah.
That was under Sheriff James, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I did it for $1.
And what did you tell us? You came back from school with your Timbs and your and you was like, I'm on da da da.
That's a blast.
$1. Yeah, he tried to make me leave the educational system. That would have been the worst mistake I ever made in my life. Yeah, to leave to go there full time. So, I'll go for $1, and you can hire brother Dave Muhammad to be down there, full time.
Right.
That's what happened.
That's a blessing. Yeah.
Why would it have been a mistake? Why would it have been such a catastrophic mistake?
One, because now you beholden, because the way you beholden to them is because they, you got to eat. They taking care of your food and your bills and so you only could say and do but so much, which is why these people are always paralyzed and can't speak and say the things they need to say politically because they are under these people like that. Their whole family work for whole individuals of folks, so they kind of beholden to them. That's number one. And number two, I think because of the years in the educational system and the families that I've met and helped and been a part of is one of the reasons that I eventually got elected to these positions anyway.
Right. Yeah. On your own, based on your work and what you have done in the community.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that they wanted to counter offer that. You know what I mean? And I think that the mayor's absolutely correct. I think that his record speaks for itself. And as you all know, I mean, that's why I say it's about ideas, right? None of these cats, if we talk about their backgrounds and we talk about ideas and we talk about, as we say in our community, the work that was put in, I mean, it doesn't measure up. And I think that that's clear. And most of these people don't want to debate the mayor on the ideas. They want to debate them on these ideas that for the most part are made up. Because when we talk about people who are hungry, shit, people want to eat, man. People who have a job want a job. I mean, that's real, right? So
absolutely.
Talker Brown said we're not fighting for ideas. People are fighting to change their conditions for bread and for things that they need.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Material can change their material conditions.
Yeah, Essex County is a pretty expensive county to live in.
The entire state is ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely the state.
I'm telling people that everybody lives in affordable housing because if you can't afford it, you ain't living there.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
I mean, so
Affordable is relative.
that's right. We got to change the definition of these things on purpose to pull other people into it, so they can stop isolating us, which is what they do. They isolate us, and it becomes more apparent to me in this race because they want to make it seem like there's only issues that are germane to Newark and Black people. And what we're fighting for has nothing to do with the rest of New Jersey. That's just a lie.
Yep.
It's just not even true.
Can you elaborate more on that? Because I think that's going to be what start to really scare people.
Yeah,
elaborate more on that, especially in terms of your experience when you're.
That's what reporters. The reporters do that straight ahead. They're like, well, you know, New Jersey is made up of suburbs, and da da da. And I'm like, but where suburbs you talking about? They start describing these places and tree-lined streets. I said, we got some of them in Newark. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the issues that we face, you know, housing issues are statewide issues. Housing is not a Black people issue. It affects us disproportionately, but everybody suffers from the lack of housing and the high cost of living in New Jersey, right? Mm-hmm. The access to education and quality schools is a statewide issue. You know, we just have been burdened by it longer than and more, and it's more exacerbated in our community than other places, but it's a statewide issue. I mean, all of these issues are tied to one another, to each other. You know, the laws that you created to keep Black people out of your own children because they can't afford to live there or be in that town either. You created all these exclusionary zoning laws to keep us out of your community. Now your own children can't live in your community, right? And are still adamant about holding those laws and are suffering now from your taxes, from everything else, because you refuse you know, to break up the stuff you created decades ago, you know, to discriminate against us. Now they came back, you know, the chickens then came home to roost. So now we you know, us fixing the problem with us will also fix your own problems.
Yep.
And somebody needs to say that. And you know, people are not going to say that. Like they're not going to say the disparity study basically said that Black women businesses are hit the hardest and worst in this economy, even though they're the fastest growing businesses in the country and in the state. So they're hit the hardest. And so focusing on a policy that lifts Black women businesses up helps the entire economy. Like who else was gonna say that?
Right.
Like, nobody's gonna say that. Like, who else was gonna say that we need to invest in Black women business? Why they're growing? And they're growing because Black women make less money at work than everybody else. Because first of all, women make less than men and Black women make the least. So they have to supplement their income with the eyelash business, the makeup business, the hairdo business, you know, the food out of the kitchen business, all of those things that they're doing to supplement their income to take care of their families. That's what's happening. And we're not investing in those businesses, and we should be, and allowing them to grow and because that right there helps us, helps our economy grow and blossom. And folks are not going to make that argument. First of all, Democrats might be too afraid to say that, in fear that other people will get upset.
Right.
But they know in their mind that's actually a fact. Like the data and everything else will say that to them and say it right to them. Just like Schumer says, increasing the Black vote will help you win, but you have to say that in private. You can't make that a public, you know, a pronouncement. So because people are, what do you mean? It means that if we organize Black people, we can win.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
That's what it means. Right. Yep. So it also means if you feed Black women businesses, the economy will grow. And nobody's gonna say that.
And it's one of the most blatant things you can say. When you help Black people, you help everybody.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you have to be purpose. You know, I see different restaurants coming in, and people will make on their date on in different communities that every Wednesday, every second and fourth Wednesday, we're going to go eat at so and so's restaurant, and we have to be so committed and to doing it like other people do it, because that's the way that we're going to increase and
The,
see the numbers increase. I'm sorry.
the beauty of the things that we're doing, like to exciting black people to do stuff, like the new UPS store
Hmm.
that moved to Newark, black owned. The Cold Stone that everybody's going to now, they're talking about eat. Black guy opened that, from
Hmm.
Newark. These guys are taking risk in the community and saying, look, we're going to do this because we're getting the support locally to make these things happen. So let's get it done.
And
And
they become franchise. Beautiful.
yeah, and the great thing about it is like these things are happening under the radar. Like
Mm.
they just popping up and doing it. And they're doing the work, and Invest Newark and everybody else are helping these people make this stuff happen. And to me, like 5-10 years from now, that keeps going. It's going to turn into a kind of economy, a class, sort of stuff that was people was talking about in Atlanta happening right here in the city of Newark.
Yep.
That people are not even discussing or seeing right now because it's happening so quietly.
Yep.
And I think that's the scary thing about your
I.e.
candidacy.
I.e. John Big Rock Deli, right?
Right.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. Yes, I seen your post. What's that, Ed?
Yeah.
Oh, he's
That's
coming on
okay.
at 7:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
beautiful.
When the
but
man
Yeah.
when
about the businesses that are opening up, and we talk about, the fact that Rock went right in the community and opened up the deli, and we're talking about, from our standpoint, something that could easily turn into a franchise, right?
Yes. Hmm.
you told
But
when you were on
that's
our
in the
show
community.
right before you declared that you were going to run, right? Like it was like that. You were on our show that Friday. You declared on Monday. You were talking about political power, right? Or not political power. You're talking about power, right? Uh, in terms of governor, should a lot of people around the state be like, yes, because just like in Newark, where there are a lot more people who have access to franchises, that like it opens up to people who normally didn't have it before. Is that also why many people are just resisting a Baraka governorship? Because they know that means just like in Newark, where you have access to a lot more black businesses, a lot more people who have access to construction, a lot more people who have access to different franchises. And the way in which this works, that would work at a state level as well. It would open up the entire state in ways that weren't open up previously.
Well, honestly, I think it's just two things. People are used to doing the things that they've always been doing, you know, and comfortable the way the state of affairs are. Even the people that talk the good talk, they're used to it because they benefit from the way it is. When we talking about reimagining, you're talking about disrupting what is actually happening, has been happening for decades. Like all of these people you saying you want to give business to, in their mind is like, if you give business to them, then we don't get it.
Hmm.
Right. And in their mind is like, we're comfortable with the way things are. The problem is not the state. The problem is you. And they make us believe that our cities and our conditions are the way they are because of us and not because of a system that has been designed the way it's been designed.
Mm.
And they're perfectly comfortable with the way things are going. Even some of the people who call themselves progressive in some instant, you know, they just want to change the relationship that we have to that system, but not the system itself.
Mm-hmm. Mic drop.
And when you start talking in a different kind of way, or folks that some people are, they make themselves so quote unquote radical that it makes that they don't do anything. My father used to say some people are so revolutionary they can't make nothing happen. They don't agree with nothing. Ain't nothing gonna take place. So what they do is talk themselves out of any progress or push or movement or fight at all. So some
And
people
we
say things that are so outlandish that, you know, people just gonna walk away from them, right? As opposed to, because our job is to win people over to our line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what you're supposed to be doing, not isolating yourself further as they want to isolate you. Because, you know, I always say I tell my brother, we got to get in front of as many people as possible, because what they do is create the narrative that isolates you from everybody. But when you get in front of people and they hear you, they say, hey, wait a minute, this guy is not that person. This is what we should be doing.
That's right.
And so when you get up there, that's why it's important to talk about the things that you believe and not run away from them. So, because what you're doing is making people understand that what you're saying is actually right. Indeed. When you run from it, they don't even get an opportunity to hear the other side, because you're chasing, you know, stuff you don't even agree with. Like, you have to say, what that man just said is ridiculous. Not only is it ridiculous, it's unpractical, it's unsustainable. You can't, the state needs 230,000 additional units of housing. It's impossible to build them in 7 cities. Mm-hmm. Not only is it racist, it's dumb, right? So that's what you have to let people understand, that racism in and of itself is ignorant. Mm-hmm. Not only is it immoral, it's foolish. Mm-hmm. Right? It's self-sabotage. And we got to push it so people understand it. And the majority, some people ain't gonna care because that's who they are. But I think many folks will understand that. And the people who do, like when I was at that panel, I was when it was over, I was at a lounge. This white woman came up to me and said, "Listen, I'm glad you were on that panel, because if you wasn't on that panel, what you said would have never been said, and what Chidarelli said would have been left there." Because he made a statement that when the state went through the recession, that everything was all good. We didn't fall off a cliff. His exact words: "We didn't fall off a cliff. Nobody died. Christie made the cuts, and New Jersey is tough. We made it through." And I said, you must be living in the alternative universe, because in Newark, we laid off 167 police officers. Yeah. Every worker in the city was furloughed. People lost their savings, their jobs. It was difficult. It's almost disrespectful for you to say that. You know what I mean? Like, people suffered. So maybe the people you know didn't suffer, but the people we know was in a crisis. Yeah. And when you talk like that, I don't care how backward people are. They know they was going through some hell when we was in a recession and Christie was making those cuts. Right. That they taxes went up and the services went down and the bills were crazy. They know it. So they, you know, while they hate to agree with you, they come up to you in private and be like, "Hey, I'm glad you said that, because I don't care where you live at. We were suffering in my town too."
Yep.
Yep. The education cuts.
Listen, man, it's 7 o'clock. We got to let the man go. Before the man go, we owe him a happy birthday, y'all.
Happy birthday.
Man, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mayor. Are you 21 yet?
Barely.
Barely, okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. We love you, my brother.
All right, love y'all too. Take care.
Appreciate you a lot, man.
All
right, peace.
They don't want that challenge, John. You know what I mean?
They don't. What they don't want to do is they don't want to go 1-on-1 against Mayor Baraka. That's what they really don't want, because they know.
And the fact is that Mitty is going to out organize them because he's registering people.
This is Mitty's advanced ground game. Yes. We did the same thing that Take City Hall. We got out in front of everybody, got out in front of the work
a year before,
talking to those folks that most folks don't talk to, right? They're building the base, right?
But definitely touch everybody once, and you touch some people twice, yeah.
But this is the thing, right? That people fail to understand, right? Remember, the game is about a ground game, right? You know what I mean? One is you got to organize the people. Then 2, you got to be able to or get your people out to the polls. It don't mean nothing if you don't know where they are and you can't get them to the polls. You need your people to vote. Right?
And if you're in office, part of that too is to do your job.
You're able to win all these elections, right? And people can't see it, right?
Well,
and he's getting it done. And so that's what's a part of what's going on. But I think that idea, John, that you just gave the mayor is a hell of an idea to create a bus. So anybody from Newark that want to travel with him can travel. Preachers do that, right? They take their.
And that was Donna. That was Donna's idea.
We had a bus for mayor.
That's a hell of an idea.
We had that blue bus.
Yeah, we did it.
And somebody set it on fire.
Huh?
I remember that.
He had the bus, and then somebody set it on fire. Yeah,
right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And remember, remember when Florio? I was young when Florio took a bus down, and he wanted to down in Trenton, and going to organize people. So this is nothing new under the sun. But here's the one thing Mayor Baraka is doing. He didn't get in his job and take it for granted. He got in his job and did more than anybody could have expected. And he's continuing to do it. And here's the one thing people said when he first came as mayor, when he came out the first time. People thought in some cases that he was already the mayor because he was doing town halls. He was, talking to people, bringing them to it. And it kind of was like the same thing President Obama did on the federal level. You start with coffee clutches and you build and you build and you build. And the mayor's doing a lot. And so, and we who know have to get out and be his amen corner and talk about it, because I can tell you that led, you see how excited I get, because we had that in Orange, and what we unfortunately did was just tell the person that they had to, pay for it. We didn't go back to the drawing board and see how we can make this work and everything. So I was like, that was aha moment. That was beautiful. And people almost got value to their homes. What it costs, what it would cost per house to have value went to their homes. They have all new infrastructure, turning pipes and stuff. So it's beautiful.
All right. So, that we're gonna be talking a lot about the mayor's run for governor, because I think it's one of the most exciting things to happen inside of New Jersey for a long time, and that whole practical progressive thing. I think he has a new voice. I really do think Biden needs Baraka to be out in front, because he can communicate with the people he wants to communicate much better than any surrogate that he has. If Baraka's out as a surrogate, Biden wins. If he's
and I can hear Vice
surrogate,
President saying it, and she said, "I told you."
It may be more of a problem because they're just not persuasive. They're not speaking in the way that they need to be speaking.
And what you heard the mayor say, John, is that the Biden campaign doesn't have any excitement.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're talking about Trump and not about the progressive vision for the future, right?
And that's a problem.
And this is the Democratic Party's whole job. And where is the chair of the Democratic Party? What is he talking about? Yeah. Who is the Democratic chair? Like, if you don't know, you don't know. It's because he's not out here speaking.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, wasn't it that guy down in South Carolina?
It is. Right. I think it still is him. But like Donna told you, Ed, when you and Donna Brazil talked, she told you they tried to shut her up. A lot of things.
And this is a perfect segue, because we have a Dr. Todd Stephen Burrows, associate professor at both Wayne State and Seton Hall University, on. And before we were on just a little earlier, you were about to break down analysis.
Right? Well, I'm an adjunct professor. Associate professors are full-time tenured people, so I don't want people to think that I'm
sorry, Professor. They don't say adjunct Professor Burrows.
Right, that I'm extending the CV here. So no, I'm a humble adjunct professor, just like Jonathan always says. I'm a humble high school debate teacher, and he pretends he doesn't have an entire office filled with awards, like 300 awards. Right? So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on from that.
So you turned around from your award wall?
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said, no, Todd. So you turned around from your award wall?
No, I don't have an award wall. I have a comments wall. Okay. And I have a TARDIS cookie jar. So like I was listening to your discussion right there, and I was thinking, like, I wish I could jump into the TARDIS. That's a Doctor Who reference for those of you who are not geek inclined. And, because I know a couple of years from now, we're going to be talking about Baraka for Congress. But I know y'all don't want to do that right now. So we're going to go back to what
but hold that thought.
But that's what we should be talking about.
That's right.
What we should be talking about is Baraka for Congress. I mean, this governor thing, I don't understand. But y'all deal with that. Anyway, let me go to
I think he can win. Like, I think the demographics are good.
What do you mean you think he can win? That's ridiculous. He has it. I mean, you see what Payne is representing? Baraka would do that in his sleep. Baraka would do that with a surrogate. There's no way Baraka wouldn't win the congressional seat that Payne has. But we're gonna talk about that when the time comes. I know y'all don't want to do that right
now. And here's another thing, Todd. New Jersey, we may need him, and then we will send him. Sometimes you send I'm saying New Jersey. I'm just saying New Jersey. We need him. Because
New Jersey needs him, and the black community. We need a strong black man to be part of the squad. Somebody strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
and like I said, this is not a time and place for that.
Okay.
I know y'all got,
well, I mean, like because
I know this is not a time and place for that.
Jamal Bowman is trying to stand up, and they're coming after him too.
Yeah,
but you brought this up. So one of the things I want to do is because like our congressman, our good friend, Donald Payne. I just wanted to just reach out. We've been reaching out. We've been praying for him, and just as a community, because he's a personal friend to all of us, friend of the show, and more importantly, he's a good human being who's done a lot.
He's done very important work,
this.
and it's time for him to retire so that we can get a strong.
Well, I mean, again, yeah.
I know. Y'all can't do that.
We're not going to do. We're not going to do that.
And Todd,
Todd, Stephen Burrow are not the thoughts of all politics alone.
Right.
Those are his private thoughts.
And also,
Stephen Burrow do not reflect those politics of local.
And also, as we are actually his friends. So yeah, we're not going to say That's we pray for our brother.
Let me just be clear, right? Donald Payne Jr. is a strong representative for our city and our state, right?
Right.
And he happens to be the congressman at this point, not Baraka. He is, right? And I'm saying that one is he's a friend of ours, but two, he's the one that has been elected to that seat. And let's be
for
clear.
the 10th congressional district. There are many Congress people in Jersey, but he's for the 10th congressional district.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed covering his father, and I enjoyed observing him. And they do provide leadership. Both have provided leadership.
And we also want to pray for our brother. We want to wish him well. And we're believing God for a speedy recovery.
Yes.
So we get back to the Payne report.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely right.
So let me get back to what I was about to say. So I think that again, we need to do more assessment. Black liberals do a lot of assessment. They come to the wrong conclusions, right? But they at least have assessments, right? They can pull out a report. They can pull out something that they've studied and they've analyzed, right? They just don't do ideology. Now, the fact that Black liberals don't have ideology might be part of the reason why they have all these studies and all these kind of things, right? But as I get older and I get crankier, I get tired of hearing Black radicals. Whenever you ask them a question about something specific, they answer with some ideology or something that happened 60 years ago, right? So as I get older and as I think about what my role is as an independent person, which I've just proven I am with this conversation we had coming in, I keep thinking about how we need assessment. So let me just list a few things that have happened that show why we're in the situation we are. Martin Luther King made it clear every time there's and where do we go from here? Chaos of community. Whenever we advance, there's huge white backlash.
Right.
So let's look at how we've advanced just in this past, week or so. United Nations just had this week their forum for, Africa, the decade of the African, et cetera. So they just had the forum. A Caribbean sister is now head of that particular part of the UN. And the UN all this week talked about how Black people should get reparations, including the UN's chief human rights person today.
That's right. You're talking about the permanent forum of the people of African descent.
Exactly.
We'll have Barbara Horn come on today to talk about that herself. She participated in it. We'll have her on next week.
Exactly. So things like that, and the fact that there are like 20 cities that are on the verge of setting up reparation studies, right? Reparations went from being a Black radical dream to now it's become actual public policy across the country, right?
It is in multiracial space. It took a long time, but it
got there.
Coming down.
But it got there. And then you look at the advancements we've made in terms of making anti-racism, and I'm not a big fan of anti-racism, but let's use it, as a kind of a compromise position. Making anti-racism part of the American dialogue. All of these things have happened at the same time, right? And now we've gotten to the point where you were pointing out before that, Zaid, that even American Jews now are saying to Israel, not in my name.
That's right.
And getting arrested and punished for supporting the Palestinian people.
That's right.
One of the things that I've learned as a monitor of reparations for the Institute of the Black World 21st Century, because I actually have a job monitoring that, is that the right wing has never stopped with COINTELPRO.
That's right. Well, the state has never stopped with COINTELPRO.
Yeah, because it's not been right wingers for COINTELPRO.
That's right. It accelerated under
Democrats, under Johnson.
But what's
Robert Kennedy, Attorney General.
But what's
Biden's FBI is coming after the Uhuru 3.
Right. But what's interesting to me is that just in terms of a little bit of reparation study that I've done, in terms of monitoring reparations, is that the right wing knows every single thing we do. They know every controversial statement one of us makes. I know because I see it in my Google News alerts. And, the good and bad of this technology is that, they don't need a black desk anymore. We all remember growing up with Gil Noble and Like It Is and brother talking about Dartha Perry talking about the black desk, right? Even though they still have that at the FBI and they still study our literature and study everything. But they don't even need that now because now they got Google News alerts. And so the idea that, particularly when it comes to an election year where they get crazy, and they're crazy now with any kind of statement that we make on anything. The fact that they have to do that to maintain this white minority regime that is America, controlled by, the Electoral College, right, shows how much progress we've made. Now, I don't think we're going to win everything. I think, and there's another controversial thing I'll say here that you guys won't like, I think that all of our political prisoners are going to get out, but I think about how they're going to get out. Are they going to get out healthy? Are they going to get out being able to be cogent? Are they going to get out being able to write and speak and organize or whatever? Or are they going to get out when they get to death's door? Now, we got half the political prisoners. Zaid and I can do this math. We got half the political prisoners came out relatively healthy. The other half came out when they were practically at death's door, right? So we're all going to free the political prisoners. They're all going to be freed. But the question is going to be is how they will be freed. And will they be in a situation to help us when they get free? Or will we have to help them, right? This is the dilemma that we have. We have all of this progress and this energy and this talent and this ability. And we even have the analysis, but we still don't have control over the state. We have less strong people now than we used to have, which goes back to my earlier comment, who actively attack the system openly because people are scared to death to do that. And I don't blame them because when we look at what happened to the two sisters in Georgia who didn't attack the system, they were participating in American democracy and they got viciously attacked, right? The Trump jurors are beginning to get viciously attacked, right? So you don't even have to stand up for the things that we stand for to be viciously attacked. And people are afraid of that, and they should be, because in this kind of environment, somebody who's mentally unbalanced might do something that will be scary. And we have to remember, one of the failures that we as a community dealt with was that nobody stood up for those two sisters in Georgia. See, Zaid remembers a time where if that had happened to those sisters, some black men would have stood up with some guns and would protected her house.
And that needs to happen now.
You're talking about the two election workers.
I'm talking the two election workers. See, Zaid remembers that time when people would do that. But we don't live in that time anymore.
Some of us have done it. We need a reimagining. I've been saying this for a minute. A reimagining of Freedom Summer 64 for the summer of 2024, right? Which includes everything like Souls to the Polls, which is a mass strategy to getting people out to vote, to having necessarily where we do have them and where we can have them, right, on protection for Souls to the Polls.
I think the reason we don't have that
for no goddamn body. When I said you talking about the First Amendment, I'm trying to get Negroes to the Second Amendment. Cold serious about that.
But let's talk about why we can't get to the Second Amendment, Zaid. Let's talk about that for a second. And by the way, I wanted to talk about Black Studies tonight, but this actually is Black Studies, right? We're talking about, because we're talking about what is being purposely left out or what is being purposely included into the education of our people.
Because
so
of the attack on Black
the things that we talk about right now, believe it or not, are related to Black Studies, because every individual professor has to decide where they're going to go and the direction they're going to go, and whether they're going to get in trouble with somebody for pointing out certain things. See, one of the advantages of me being an adjunct is I don't have to get in trouble. I just get fired. I'm like, okay, do that. Because I'm going to say what I want to say, right? But let's get to why, Zaid. Let's get to why we don't get to that Second Amendment.
Well, that assumes
one of the contradictions we have to deal with is that Kwame Ture has been dead for almost 20 years now. Believe it or not.
Longer than that, almost 30.
And
yeah,
Kwame,
you're right. 20. You're right.
But it's all right. I just looked it up. I'm not smart. I just looked it up the other day.
You're right.
But what happened? But what happened in terms of the contradiction of where we're at currently? What did Kwame say every day to his dying breath? Organize, 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 organize. Right? Okay. When last I checked, we well organized. And if you don't believe me, check every single night on something called Zoom where we having a conference. See, we're not talking about that. Why are we having a conference on Zoom every night and then claiming we're not organized? We're organized. But the question is, who is organizing us? If dollars are organizing us, if the nonprofit industrial complex is organizing us, then we're organized, but there's certain things off the table. And so the Second Amendment is always off the table because people who fund the organizing don't want to hear that. And that's one of the contradictions we deal with. So we fulfill Kwame Ture's mandate.
So we got to follow the money.
By being more connected to the
push back. Hold up. Now I got to push back.
See? Yeah, push back. Let's go.
Push back.
Push back.
Right? Because what you're laying out is an old paradigm, and the paradigm is controlling as much as it possibly can of the national dialogue. That on that you're correct. But there are some of us who don't give a damn about the national dialogue, and they're going to protect ourselves and arm and protect our community any goddamn way, right? I'm doing some work with my job in Bogalusa, Louisiana, of all places, every now and then. Bogalusa was one of the birthplaces of the Deacons of Defense, right? And the Deacons of Defense was not confined to that area where they started. That armed tendency that comes out of old line self-defense traditions that were never lifted up because of the uncomfortable place an isolated place it had in the national dollar, but were always there in our community. It was always there, right? And it manifested at a particularly powerful moment. James Meredith, the march against fear, where he gets shot. Kwame says we got to finish the march. Who does they finish the march with? The Deacons of Defense, right? So there's that, and out of all of that blood and ashes, comes armed traditions like the Black Panther Party. Let us remember right here in Newark, we didn't just outvote these gangsters in City Hall. We had to bang with some of them physically and militarily. We had to bang with some of them, right? So folks, for the folks who are not comfortable talking about that, y'all go ahead and talk 501c3. For folks who talk about serious about protecting our people's right to our human dignity by any means necessary, get your shit locked and loaded and don't sell it to nobody.
But see, here's where I can get the pushback on you. I agree with everything you just said, but here's the problem. And I'm going to talk about somebody else tonight. I really respect what the New Jersey Institute of Social Justice, if I have their name right, what they're doing with reparations, right? They're giving an incredible outline of all the things white New Jerseyans owe us, right? But when you ask them for solutions, they start talking about goodwill. They start talking about, we need to have a dialogue and all that, as if they're ignoring their own analysis, right?
There you're right. And
if they're saying, and I think they've said, because they've had 8-10 hours of this stuff, right? You can see it all on YouTube. If they're saying that all of the segregation, all the racism, all the things that we had to deal with in New Jersey was done by policy and done purposely, then you can't do a dialogue with those people, because you're asking those people to give up all of the structures that they set up to make sure that they win and we lose, right? Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying to you, Zaid, is that when I do this assessment of where we're at, we're very clear on problems, we're very clear on analysis of that, but we don't have an assessment on what to do other than make somebody like us. And the reason that we don't have that, and my argument is the reason we don't have that is because the people who like us are the ones who's funding the assessments.
There you're right. One of the things that's happening, and this is, and I'm glad you're lifting up the Institute of Social Justice,
because they do great work.
Do great work. In fact, Ryan is in his 9th year of leadership. They just announced, bright young brother, very proud of him. Have done good work on trying to advance the question of reparations in New Jersey, but it is a 501c3. It is a multiracial space. It's a multiracial space that is allowed for some Black leadership, right? And it's the only multiracial space that has actually got out in front of the question in a Black in a Black context or on the Black conversation, right? And they probably should not be that. And I'm saying that to speak directly to your point, right? And I'm not saying, I don't want them to take a step back at all, right? I want them to do what you just said they ought to do. If you got an analysis that says this was systematically done to our people, then there has to be an answer that says this systematically has to be done to correct that without apology.
And see, you and I are in gentle, quiet pain, but I'm not going to be quiet.
I ain't gentle
when we hear the great grandson or grandson of Elijah Muhammad say the things I'm saying that they say. When it comes out of Cabral Muhammad's mouth, that's what I really am paying. Like, oh my God, right? Can you get somebody else to do that? if you can't say, but that's the situation we're in. Now let's combine this with Black studies, because I know Larry's coming up in a couple of minutes. So to steal from Dr. Clark, I'm going around the subject to get to the subject, right? I miss Dr. Clark. I think we all miss Dr. Clark.
I do too. Yes, I do.
And you remember you said that I'm going to go around the subject to get to the subject. When we say we represent the Black radical tradition, and I don't say I represent it, by the way, I say that I give it legitimacy among other perspectives, right? I don't consider myself a radical or an activist or anything like that, but I do consider myself a free-speaking, free-thinking, free-writing person.
So why you be rolling with us all the time then?
I'm sorry? Because I agree with half of what y'all say, but I can't join y'all because I'll say something like I said earlier that y'all got upset about. See, I'll say that. And because I come out of this Village Voice tradition where they didn't care who they upset, right? And that's my tradition, right? But anyway, I'm not in the Black radical tradition, but I agree that the Black radical tradition is legitimate as any other perspective. and should be lifted up into the marketplace of ideas and be accepted, right? And even the books that I pointed out to you, the authors and all that, I've been on Black Power Media being critical of all of them. And all you can see all my stuff with Dr. Jared Ball, I'm just criticizing everybody. Why? Because he did bad work? No, it's not that he did bad work. It's that when you study Mumia and you study Dhoruba and you study all these other people, you know what they're not saying. And it's what they're not saying. It's what our leadership is not saying. That is the problem. Now, we know, for instance, and this is my last time.
Hold up. What would you say Mumia and Dhoruba are not saying?
No, I'm saying that when you study Mumia and Dhoruba, you know what the other leadership, what everybody else is not saying.
Right, yeah, all right, I got you. All right.
So for instance, I'm going to pick on the New Jersey Institute just one last time, and then I'm going to make my point. I think what Ryan Haygood has done has been incredible, and I'm so happy he exists. And I think I even told him that, or tried to tell him that at the next book event. But I can't ignore, and Zaid, don't get upset at me, but I'm going to say it. I can't ignore that building on Park Street, that Park Avenue where they're at next to WBGO, which serves New York, we're going to move on from that, that has been a stepping stone to Washington, D.C. Like, I can't ignore that. You look at the history of the New Jersey Institute, where have all the former directors gone? They use it as a stepping stone to go to Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Most of these young folks who were, of that ilk, who are not radicals.
Right.
Who are not radicals.
Right.
You 501c3s as stepping stones to something like that.
Right. And I'm not saying Haygood is doing that or not, because I don't know Haygood. I don't know him. I just know he's done great work here. Right.
And just to be clear, right? Like, you're just talking about all my friends tonight, right? Like, so,
yeah, I am.
So just to be clear, he has been here.
In the chat.
Yeah, but he has been here for over 20 years. He lives, owns out. Like this is not a stepping stone for him. I mean, for him in that way. His wife got roots here. For instance, like there are all kinds of ways he does not fit the model of what you're doing.
Love
right?
his wife.
Right. So I'm just, like, God, man, I'm just like, you're my friend, like, from when I was 14 years old. Now you're just attacking everybody. Man.
I'm giving an assessment as to why we're not having a full dialogue. So let me go to my own Africana Studies people, who, by the way, I said openly when I first joined Africana Studies, I said I thought we were this brave group of people. I said Africana Studies is more cowardly than the people in communications.
Yeah,
I said that openly on Twitter when I first joined Africana Studies. Because I didn't know that the Black radical tradition was just a small little sliver of what Africana Studies is, right? Africana Studies is a bunch of things, and the Black radical tradition is just a small part of it. And it's a part of it, frankly, that a lot of people would wish it would go away. And I'm going to be really honest tonight and say that, those people. So, for instance, when Bill Strickland died, those people quietly had a party because they're waiting. They're waiting for Strickland and Karanga and all of these folks to check out. They're waiting for them to check out.
Mm-hmm. That's real stuff.
Because once they check out, they're going to be replaced by Cabral Muhammads, who are going to tell me about goodwill and white people. We need to talk to them and all that. Which, again, I mean, So what am I saying? What am I saying in terms of my assessment? I'm saying that I think we've won very significant battles. I think we've won the communication battle. I think we've won the unity battle. I think we've won the organization, the information battle, the organization of information battle. We've won the meeting battle. We've won significant battles. I think Kwame Ture would be very proud to know that we have a Black conference every night somewhere in the United States, every single night.
And then Professor Burroughs also in 2011, students got together and recreated the route on the Freedom Riders, and on the bus was the original Freedom Riders, and they got to experience, what they get to talk to them as they were taking the the roads that they took, and then they got to see and listen to what they experienced as they went through certain towns and everything. So, you work with you work with students, our future, the people who are going to even replace us. So what do you see, and are you hopeful?
I'm glad you're asking that, because here's what I see. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I've been critical tonight, so I'm gonna be self-critical. If you had told me, if you had told me, I'm gonna be self-critical as I've been critical of everybody else tonight. If you would have told me when I met those students who came to my class 2 years ago in January, and you said to me, see those students right there that are speaking? Yeah, they're gonna have a protest. They're gonna take over President's Hall. They're gonna shake up Seton Hall, and they're gonna make Seton Hall hire some Black Studies people. I'd have laughed you off the campus, because I said, no, these folks can't do this, because we got these stereotypes of our young people, being that they feel they're kind of weak, that they're kind of emotional and they deal with their feelings all the time and all this. We're this kind of stereotype of Z, right? So I have these same issues. But here's what I didn't understand about the Seton Hall students, and this is what I didn't understand about Generation Z. Generation Z may be very in touch with their emotions and very in touch with their feelings and very in touch with wellness and all of that. But if they see something that they think is unfair, they will jump up. Seton Hall protested because when Kelly Harris left and Seton Hall was not rushing to fill up the void and to do certain things they wanted to do, they looked at their tuition bill. And they said, this is unfair that we're paying this amount of money to be at a place that does not respect us. That's what I didn't get. That's what I didn't get. And when it got to that question, then they got up, they organized, and they took it over. And, as I said on Black Power Media, it was interesting to me, Seton Hall didn't want to negotiate with them. But then all of a sudden, they had one of their weddings, and one of their group of white people got upset because the students were next door holding down the building. So with their little white world being disrupted, all of a sudden, Seton Hall wanted to meet the next day.
That's right.
I don't know if I got that chronology right, but that's what I remember.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's why you got to disrupt.
And they didn't even disrupt the wedding. They didn't even do that. They were just there. But just their presence there was enough to disrupt the system. So once the system got disrupted and white people got their feelings hurt because their white world was spoiled, then all of a sudden Seton Hall went to the table. So what I had to learn about Z was Z cares about what Z cares about, not what X, my generation, cares about, not what boomers care about. They care what they care about. And I think they're clear on confrontation when it's about an issue of fairness. Thank you. We also blocked the front and back gates of the campus. Thank you, Trevor. You sure did. Thank you. When it's an issue of fairness, that's why those Columbia students are getting expelled. And people got arrested. They went right back to setting up, right, that framework they set up, right?
That's right.
They went right back to it because they see it as an issue of fairness, right? It is unfair that Palestinian babies have to pay the price for political arguments. And that's how they see it. And because they see it that way, and they understand apartheid, they read books about apartheid, they know what apartheid is, and so they understand, like, that's not fair. And they don't want to hear anything, any argument or whatever about Israel being surrounded and all that. All they know is that if you're surrounded, maybe if you stopped having an apartheid government, maybe you wouldn't have all these enemies around you. That's what they understand.
Fair enough.
And so that's what I didn't get. Now, I think I'm done, right? Because you went on the next segment.
Well,
right?
we are getting ready to go on to this next segment, but we're just going to ask you the last question that we always ask, and that is, who's your favorite hip hop artist, individual group, who you're rocking with now, who's inspiring you right now?
I'll tell you a story. One of my good friends is Erica Blount-Danois, who's one of the top writers of Black culture in America. And we had a discussion about music. and she talked about. I'm going to get to the hip hop part in a second. We talked about what because she's doing a book on 50 songs that shaped R&B or whatever, and she picked Luther Vandross's "Never Too Much," and I was like, "You got to be kidding me, right?" Next to "House Is Not a Home," next to "If This World Were Mine," you're gonna pick "Never Too Much." But I listened to "Never Too Much" and I realized that song was a hip hop song because every word when you listen to that song, he doesn't breathe until he gets to the chorus and to the bridge. Every word, every note matches every word. So currently, that's my favorite hip hop song.
That's interesting. That you
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna have Rhino talk about that. Okay.
So get Rhino to talk about how "Never Too Much" is a proto hip hop song.
Okay. Look, guys, I appreciate that.
I appreciate you allowing me to exercise my freedom of speech here, even though it might have upset some people. I appreciate it. And if you have me back,
clean them and load them.
Right. If you have me back, I'll be happy to come back.
No, we love you.
We'll have you. We'll have you back. Yes, and even though your views definitely were not our views. You were talking about my friends, and so we will fight. Todd and I have been friends since we were like 14, 15 years old.
I got nothing but love for everybody I criticize, but I just want to point out. I like to point out the contradiction. Yes, I.
Fair enough.
Todd, we understand you from Adia's side of the family.
True academic. You're a true academic.
As you go out, Todd, Wednesday is Mumia's 70th birthday anniversary. I'm reaching out to our publisher for them to consider me organizing 70 poems from around the world to honor Mumia's birthday. Just stick a pin in that, right? And
we need that, and
my public announcement.
All right, cool. So all right. So thank
you. I'm leaving. Thank you.
Say goodbye to Rahman.
I see it's time to leave. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.
Take care. Take care, man. Take care. All right, cool, man. So we always love having our friend Todd, Dr. Todd Stephen Burrows.
We're gonna take it up another notch.
And absolutely, and have other friend here and appreciate you. National Union leader, former National Union leader, current deputy mayor for economic affairs. But in this tonight, we're talking about a small businessman, small business owner. I remember I was at City Hall when I think you were getting the permit for the food truck, right? And you were like, that's what I kept thinking about. I was like, yeah, man, I feel I was there when it started, right? So you have a new brick and mortar restaurant in the city of Newark.
Big Roc is your stuff.
Right? Big Roc, right? And you have been doing it for a bit, right? Because you had a food truck that was blowing up my Facebook page. I wanted to have you on before. I've been like, let me put this food looks good. Let me have him on. But I saw the opening of the restaurant, right? The official grand opening is tomorrow. And talk to us about Big Rocs. What is it?
It's over. Let's talk.
That's right. Like the rest.
And where are the coupons?
Hey, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm gonna have to excuse the traffic. I'm actually in the restaurant.
No, that's what's up. Yeah.
I'm parking here. My wife, turn around, baby.
Yeah, turn around. Get a queen some love. We see you, queen.
Thank you for your service.
Couldn't do this without her. Tomorrow's the grand opening for our deli on 16 Urban Turner Boulevard, 11 o'clock. Actually, it's probably going to be 2 grand openings. This one is really me and my wife. We put in the work and we just wanted to do one that represented what we were doing, and then there's probably going to be another one that's a more official for officials that want to come and do the ribbon cutting and congratulate new business coming in the city, but it'll be at a later date. Me and my wife needed to open up because at this point we are down a lot of money. And we're trying to make some of that back, so we can't wait for people's schedules to open up the stores. So we started. I've always wanted to open a deli. To be honest with you, I probably wanted to open a deli since I was a kid. What's crazy about it is this is actually DJ's Deli for anybody that know that was raised on DJ. We was raised on DJ's Deli, because they were the only one that took food stamps.
Right.
My mother pretty much raised us on DJ's Deli, which was down the street from where we lived at. And actually DJ was also my lodge brother. And so the fact that I'm able to take over the deli that he actually raised his family and created his family business, and come in here and build another deli, and just try to take it to a different level, man. I'm so happy. DJ actually passed away last year at the age of 93 years old. But, you know, he left me his tuna recipe. I'm actually going to name in honor of him. I've actually named all my sandwiches after my grandkids and family members.
Beautiful.
So when you come in and see different names of sandwiches, they all represent somebody in my family that we named. But the tuna is actually going to be named after DJ because it's his recipe. And it's actually to honor him for the fact that this was his restaurant prior to me opening it up. And I just wanted to give some kudos to that African-American male who started a business back in the 60s. It's so difficult to have a black business back then on Urban Turner Boulevard where the projects was at, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. You know what's crazy?
Hang up signs that said black business and stuff like that. He went through all of that.
He went through all that. And what's crazy is because everybody keep telling me, oh, you opened up in the hood. I'm like, well, DJ was opened up in the real hood. There was projects around him and he survived. So I'm sure we'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? I won't.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to have no issue. I actually grew up around here. So, you know, this is my neighborhood. I'm coming back. Whatever happens, happens. We here to, you know, sell a product. I'm not putting up no glass mirror windows. And, you know, I was told to put up, you know, the glass, the points.
No. Cool. Yeah.
I said, I'm not doing that. This is a family restaurant. We can't
prosper in fear.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing it. I'm not scared of my people, so we ain't doing that.
Right on.
You know, at the end of the day, we put together, my wife did a great job in the restaurant area. Listen, man, I want the community to come in and enjoy it. The food is good. We started with our food trailer, and, you know, because of, like John just said, the outcry was crazy with the food trailer. I mean, we couldn't keep up with it. So I was telling my wife, I mean, either we were getting a bigger truck, which was price, by the way, they wanted to charge for it, or we had to go into a store, and so we decided to go into a store. That's where we are here today.
So you retired the food truck? You retired the food truck?
No, the food truck is still going to be out. So I got a friend that's going to take over the trailer. We're going to use it for events and stuff. I mean, it's paid for, so it got to still pay for itself. So,
yeah, we got to invite you out. Okay.
So you were selling out every day, right? Like I would follow, you know, and it was like, oh, you know, you got to get there early because if you want the pastrami, you need to be here because people know about it right now and it's gonna be gone.
Right. That's the deal. That's why we had to open up a store because the capacity you can only do so much on a food truck or a food trailer. And the meat, we cook our meat. We don't have boar's head, so. You know, everybody keep talking about boy head. No, we actually have real.
I got you.
Roast beef right now.
That's right. I got you.
Okay, so we're gonna have to back up a little bit. No. Wait. Come on. Wait. Hold up.
Yes, that's right.
Because this is important. I didn't really fully understand this. I should have known this. Didn't fully because you like barbecuing. You like doing the smoked meats. Wait, hold up. Because I remember at a conversation you were talking about the different ways to grill and smoke. All of the meat in the deli that's at Big Rocs delis is personally made by Big Rocs.
Except for the turkey pastrami, because unfortunately they don't have a turkey pastrami that you can cook. So we have a wild turkey pastrami, which is good, by the way. It's probably one of the big sellers. But the turkey breast is cooked. The roast beef is cooked. I'm cooking roast beef right now. I'll be cooking the turkey breast afterwards. I got the corned beef brisket is cooked. And the pastrami is cooked. So we cook all our meats. We don't have no boar's head.
Just don't stop saying that name. Stop. It's your last time.
You know what it is? Because everybody keeps telling me about boar's head. Ask me,
but you're giving them free advertisement. Stop.
I don't know what that is. Like, we're not doing processed meat here. This is real meat.
We got to get a jar back there.
We actually got it.
Every time you say the name, you got to put $20 in a jar.
And we get our meats from the distributor that actually distribute cats their meat. So so I was lucky to get in that group. Is actually
okay. So repeat that. Okay, you gotta go.
Just
you
say
gotta go back.
DJ's Deli.
You went over that too fast. Man.
The person you get your meat from
where
produces
does
from a well another.
Right, but where does the meat get distributed? Or like what distributor do you go to?
So it's a distributor in Brooklyn. But what happened is I accidentally came across their website and I made a phone call to them. And when I called them, they asked me how they got their phone number because they don't really sell to the public. It's actually a small distributor. It's not really a huge distributor. And, I told the guy, I looked at their website. I was interested in their product. I didn't want to get processed meats. I'm not in competition with cats. I'm in New Jersey.
Stop saying
so there's no because I think they got like an exclusive contract with cats in that area that they really can't. Because Cats is the #1 deli in New York, and there can't be competition. So they actually can't sell the Cats competitors. Yeah, and so I talked to the guy, and he said, I like what you're saying, and come on over here and let my guy Paulie take care of you.
Okay.
You're so silly.
Oh, that's excellent, right?
So I'm in the little club now. I'm in the club. So listen, it's like getting the connect. You got the connect, so you got to capitalize off the connect.
So what's the first thing you generally? What's the first sandwich you run out of?
The pastrami.
The pastrami, okay.
Hands
now,
down.
when you said when you was little, so if we hung out with you and we came over to your house when you were young, we got some good sandwiches, huh?
Well, when I was young, we ate processed meats. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have like what the meats that here, other than us going to Cooper's. When we got older, we can afford Cooper's. But when we was younger, man, we ate the processed meat because that's all we could afford. But
you still said you made sandwiches special.
Yeah, so now we able to take it to the different level because we got folks that now can afford meat that's real. So,
show me by your thumb and your index finger how big your pastrami is.
Oh man, I mean, I don't listen. You get a healthy pastrami sound. I don't really want to go there. You know what I'm saying? If you go on my website on our Instagram account, which is Big Rocs Deli, you can see the pictures. Like, we give a good. That's why it's Big Rocs. Like everything is big at Big Rocs. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, when people buy my combos, they buy extra bread.
Okay, so what's the combo like?
Well, the combo, you can get, our combos pretty much. We have different meats, so you get corned beef and pastrami, or turkey and pastrami, or turkey pastrami and corned beef. Like we have these different combos. That's what the sandwiches are named after. So if you come in, each sandwich is named based on a combo, and so it's different. Then there's the Big Roc, which is a 3-layer sandwich, and that's the big boy. You gotta have a big appetite for that one.
Okay. So we can eat 2 days or 3 days off.
And by the way, so we clear. No health food stuff here. We do all fat boy food. I'm not, because everybody's talking about, do you have a vegan product? No, we not doing it. Vegan corned beef. You know what I'm saying? It's not happening. So, I hate. I'm not against the vegan people, but we about calories up in this place. You come up in here, we ain't responsible for your calorie intake.
Right, you're like, when I have the vegan pastrami, you're like, wrong place. Wrong place. We do not have vegan pastrami.
We know, bro. There's no plant-based pastrami over here.
We got meat, and that's so you have chicken and turkey though, right? Chicken turkey sandwiches.
I got turkey. I got tuna. We got chef salads, by the way. So we make our chef salad. We're going to add Italian cheeseburgers and hot dogs soon as we get settled. We're gonna do the same.
Yes.
Buff style.
Italian hot
dogs and cheeseburgers, but I wanted to get this settled first and then add that to the menu. So probably in 2 weeks we'll add that to the menu.
So in other words, you have all those like real deli meat things starting off with. You got the hard stuff, the stuff that you bake in for hours, that you smoking is good, right? And then in 2 weeks, all the high school kids gonna be coming in for the Italian.
And that's the reason why I'm doing it, Jonathan, because I know everybody can't get the corned beef and pastrami. I mean, that's expensive meat. Like it costs. Right. So, and we're in a community where you also got to provide something for the community to be able to enjoy and to get full off of. And you can get full off of a nice Jimmy Buff style Italian hot dog, Italian cheeseburger.
You don't stop saying people's names. Everything I need to hear Big Roc only.
Yeah, but that was acceptable because you were talking about the spot.
When I do it. So, the deal is like we do want to create something where, like I said, that the community, like you said, the high school kids really, they come in and get a nice, healthy sandwich that got fries on it, hot dog bread, that's going to fill them up. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to cost what the pastrami and corn beef, because that's expensive. I ain't going to lie to you. The meat expensive, so the sandwich expensive. I mean, you go to Hobbies, you know what Hobbies charge. I mean, we less than Hobbies, but I mean, the lines at Hobbies be long. So,
right.
They ain't begging for customers in Hobbies. But
So let me ask you that on that front, are you in a position yet to cater at all?
Yeah, we're going to be doing catering. We actually going to add Uber and DoorDash. I'm begging my wife to let's get that started up. So we will be catering.
Yeah, some permission. Good job.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, listen, this place is huge.
I see it. It's beautiful.
Your cousin just gave you a shout out. Your cousin Arta lady.
Yeah, I see my cousin up here. This place is huge. I mean, Altry Kenny, y'all know Altry Kenny owned the property. Shout out to him. If I didn't shout him out, y'all, he'd be upset. So I know
he would get you in his office.
Altry Kenny owned the building, and he redid the building, and we came in and got the store. He gave us a decent price on the rent.
That's a story.
We supporting the brother. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's big about that? We're starting to see our dollars recycle in our community.
That's right.
I wouldn't do it any different, man. If I'm gonna pay somebody rent, I'd rather pay my brother the rent. He aggravated sometimes, but he I'm gonna give him the rent. He like to get in deli business. I have to remind him to stay in landlord business. He like to get in deli business too much.
So, Rock, do you know my pastor? Do you know Pastor Slaughter?
Of course, I know. Pastor.
Oh my! Has he been here yet? He loves sandwiches.
I'm sure Slaughter will be here because he came to the
He loves sandwiches. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be here. I definitely know he'll be here.
Oh, that's a great story with you and Altry Kenny. For those who don't know, clearly, like y'all on the internet together all the time. Right? Like you are actual friends,
right.
That are doing business in this way, and I think that is a wonderful story, in and of itself, right? Like in terms of making the dough.
And people always say you shouldn't do business with your friends, right? But I know other ethnicities that do business with their friends all the time, and it bothers me when what I'm saying. I see that we take this position that we should keep that away. No, I don't think so. If my brother got a building and he got a restaurant for rent, I'm getting it.
No, right. we need to. When our cities were segregated, we spent a lot of money in our spent a lot of money. We did the barbershop in our community, restaurants in our community. I mean, segregation was, I don't know if as harmful and helpful, but definitely in our community, we went to our restaurants and everything. So we look like, and we got to get there before what time? Because at what time will we start getting disappointed? And you start asking, I want this. You're like, it's gone. Okay, it's gone.
Well, listen.
When you're down.
I bought a lot of pastrami. So if it goes wrong, if that go, we in trouble.
Okay.
Or not in trouble, right? Like that's a good thing.
That's a good thing, but I'm just saying, like I really underestimated, what I'm saying, the crowd if that go. But the pastrami is always the first thing that go because the place I get the pastrami from, I mean, it's like getting Ambassador's chicken wings. It's like I told them y'all must put crack in this. This is like
this is so funny.
So can we talk about two things with Rock before we run out? One,
absolutely.
First off, Rock, I want to say I came to the soft opening, man. It was fantastic. Thank you for the sandwich, man. I enjoyed just the family. So can we talk about two things? Talk about first, why is it important, Rock, for you to do this with your family? Why?
Well, I mean, I think it's important. One of the reasons why, listen, I tell my son, I really did it for my grandkids and my kids, right? So and my wife's kids, right? So here's the thing, right? ultimately, I don't need it. And I tell my kids this all the time. Like, I've held down jobs for over 30 years. I've got a pension. I got 3 pensions coming my way.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So to be honest with you, and my wife does good, right? I married well. So like a lot of this, my lifestyle is a big reason because of her. So, I mean, I don't really need to do this at 55 years old. I'm going to be honest. As a matter of fact, if you look at what they say to you, if you read books, they say you should not start a business at 55. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really need to do this at 55. However, you know, I feel like I am in a position that I've done some things, and me and my wife is a little bit stable. We have something that we need to leave behind for our children and for our grandkids. And so I'm hoping, because I want to open a Big Rocs every year in a different city. I want to go to Atlanta. I want to go to Florida, where my wife is from. I mean, my mother-in-law is up here now. She's sitting in the back. She keeps saying, like, you need to bring this to Florida. And I want to bring it to Florida. So Mom. The deal is like, I mean, I'm hoping that if I don't do it, my kids do it. I'm hoping that if my kids don't do it, my grandkids do it. And if they don't do it, my great-grandkids do it. Like, at some point, you know, we have to build wealth in our families. And we have to leave something behind for our kids to build on. And well, I just hope one of my kids see the work that I put in. And I'm hoping that they do. But then I added my mother. Y'all see my mother bean pies is like the top of the line. Ooh, I'm telling you right now, my mother bean pies is the best bean pie. I don't care what nobody says. I'm not saying that because my mother. I'm telling you that's what the deal is. And y'all see, I labeled it my mama bean pies. Why? Because my mama's bean pie. I put a picture on there. I put a picture on there for a
long time. Glad to hear that.
Right here, you see it right here. She won't let me carry the bean pies to the other stuff. But I put a face on it for a reason, because I want people to know her. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I got my sisters in there. I got my brothers up here. My brother helped us build the place out. I mean, listen, this is a family business. As a matter of fact, when you walk up in here, I got a picture of my father who raised me up on the wall, and the work that he did and showed us how to hustle when we was kids, when he started his own business. And I got pictures of all my family from when we was kids up on that wall, to be clear that that's what this is. You know, now I'm hoping that they embrace it and try to figure out how they fit in. And if it's not fitting in this one, then take the name and go somewhere else. I mean, listen, I built my name in this state, and to be honest with you, in other states too. At some point, like, my time for the work that I'm doing is coming to an end. And I don't want to go use that for something else. The brand that I built for me, because I'm a fair dude, I'm a good dude. I think I've helped a lot of people in my life. I think I've built out good, you know what I'm saying, friendships throughout. You know, I just want to build a brand now and just, you know, hopefully my family take it to the next level.
So I like Instagram page, what is that? So I can put it on my post and let people know what's your Instagram.
Big Rocs Deli.
Big Rocs Deli.
So,
Big Rocs, ROCS Deli.
Okay.
So Rock, there are 2 questions, but now I got to interject one more, because your sister came out and I specifically came for the bean pie.
Right.
The sandwich was going to be the plus.
Right.
I came for the AAA bean pie after you posted all these your mother's pies, and I came in, there were no pies. I'm confused, brother.
So here's what my mother did. She made a batch of pies for the egg, and then she left town.
I know they went fast.
Yeah, so now she, you know what I'm saying, now she's back and she's in there now making the pies for tomorrow. So pies will be here tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, you should. That's what your sister told me. And I said, Rock should never post it the damn picture, right? Because he know the brothers, the bean pies are considered the steak.
Hey, listen, that's a big. I'm gonna tell you something. Those pies took a name of his own, man. That's a big seller, man. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. My mother's gonna sell a lot of pies, man. Because she has the bean pie. Like she does a great job on the bean pie.
So, you know, what I said to the mayor just before he went off in the first segment, you know, Rock, I think when you talk about taking this to other states, you know, I think, man, you've got to consider franchising. You know what I mean? I think that, you know, because of who you are, you know, in terms of sharing this idea, right? Well, the motto. I mean, that's what happened in Philadelphia. You know, when they tried to create, you know, when Roots was around, when they tried to create Chicken George, right? The whole restaurant concept. The problem is that, the people who understood how to create that model didn't really take it to. I mean, Kenny Gamble and them was in on it. They wanted to do it, but the people didn't understand the concept because we eat chicken just like everybody else. And you, Rock, because of the kind of guy you are, I think you would be enormously successful with that, man. So I'm gonna look to sit down with you to open my own Big Rock.
Hey,
but it's got to be Empire Stars, brother.
Let's do it. Let's do it. My niece already came to me. She want to open one up in Bloomfield, so I'm helping her open one up in Bloomfield. So
nice.
I'm not a selfish dude. So I had a dude went from Philly to Atlanta and started selling cheesesteaks, and he became a millionaire.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, folks, we can take our business ideas and move it. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, this sandwich would do good in any one of those places. Yep. But they don't sell nothing like this down there.
Now, Rock, here's my other question. You kind of already answered it, because what I thought was really cool when I came there last week, right? Because as you know, we go to other communities and take our business.
Yeah.
What I thought was really cool, man, was when I went, and I'm right there in the hood, and I'm on Norfolk Street, and I'm in the, and I'm telling y'all, it's a beautiful place when y'all go there, man. I mean, it is beautiful. Rock, I kept thinking about, man, this brother put his business in the hood, man. You already answered it, Rock, but what really made you do it, man?
In our community.
I'm from this neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I wanted to support another black business, which was my brother who was into real estate now. I mean, he got a building. And here's the other thing, I'm going to say it again. This was DJ's. This was a deli. You know what I'm saying? So it was owned by an African-American male before me. So I'm sure if DJ was alive, he would say, good job. You know what I'm saying?
Well done.
I appreciate the fact that you came in there and, made another deli. I mean, he started it, and, I'm hoping to take it to the next level. I'm not going no other place but the hood. I come from here, y'all. I don't forget where I come from. I could have went to the suburban areas. Don't trust me. There were people that tried to convince me to do that. I'm telling you that right now. But I'm like, no, listen, listen, Bradman's was in the hood.
Right.
A long time.
I mean, for a long time. And guess what? If they can be in our community and making a lot of hobbies in the hood, to me, you know what I mean? Everybody, Bradford Place was the hood. I don't know what folks talking about.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if anybody else could come to our communities and make money, why can't we? I mean, we got the Arabs taking over the chicken market. We got the, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like everybody else coming to our neighborhood and make money. We got folks that take over the hair places. Like everybody else coming to our community and make money, and we try to get away from
what we use.
And I'm not doing that. Listen, I came from here. I came from this community. I'm not scared of this community. Heck, I was more scared getting my hair cut next door than I am opening a business right here. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going nowhere. I was born and raised in this community. So if I'm going to open a business, why not do it here? This is the first place. Now, listen, I'm going to expand other places. No question. If we're successful, we're going to go other places. But we're going to first start where I was born and raised, and that's in this community. In the Central Ward of Newark, I was born and raised. So why not? Open up,
All right, Rock, make sure you tell Mom, have 2 cream pies locked up for me. Tomorrow,
I can't promise they're going to be.
Hey,
I promise you they was going to go first tomorrow. They go first tomorrow. I'm telling you that.
Rock,
4 big pies. I want to.
Rock,
I want beef.
Rock,
what
2
kind
questions.
of barbecue sauce you got?
What can we get delivered? Can food be delivered? Do you do deliveries yet, or are you on to Uber Eats or anything?
We are going to Uber Eats and DoorDash eventually. We in the process.
Eventually, no delivery as of yet, right?
Not as of yet, but we will be going in that direction. Yep.
Okay, and then the next question, I just wanted to let you know what you were saying about your you want to leave an inheritance for your grandchildren. Just Pastor Slaughter talked about that on Sunday. So he just told us we shouldn't only be looking at our children, we should be looking at our children's children. So you got that right on point. And they said word upon word, precept upon precept. So that's good. Reverend Slaughter, he wanted a thing after him.
I got a name for every one of my grandkids, got a sandwich named after them. In the future, what I plan on doing is every one of them that sell a sandwich in their name, I'm planning on putting $1 away to their college fund.
Beautiful.
You know,
Every dollar sandwich sold in there.
So I mean, listen, like I said, I don't really need it, y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I'm doing it because I need to leave something behind, man. I got guys at my generation, friends of mine, dying at my age. Yeah. The average lifespan for a black man is 67 years old. I'm 55. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, like I'm playing with the deck now, like the bar of deck now. So it's like I need to listen. I'm not saying I'm dying, but I need to prepare myself if I do on what I'm leaving behind. And it can't just be the fact that I was a loudmouth union leader or deputy mayor or any of that stuff, because I'm gonna be real with you. That to me is part of my community activism. I love to do it. I helped a lot of people, but that's not my legacy, to be honest with you. And I don't want that to be my legacy. I want this to be my legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Well, I tell you, Rock, I was impressed, man. You know, with the soft opening. I love to see your wife, man, working with the kids at the register. You know, I was so impressed. Your wife would tell you I had to pull some money out of my pocket and tip the young man who was helping me. I was just, you know, because you know, Rock, we go other places and we see that, but we don't see that in our community.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing that I felt was I felt family, right? Yeah. That's what felt really real. And then when all of the brothers and sisters were coming in, it even felt more like community. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you know, John didn't post the pictures, but to actually see you back there making the sandwiches, man, that was really precious, man. I was like, wow, look at my brother, you know.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about it, bro, is that people think because of what I've done that, yo, Rock, why is you doing that? Like, are you serious? You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, that's more. What I'm doing now is more important than what I'm doing. What I'm doing moving forward. Put it that way, because I'm still deputy mayor. But to me, that's the most important thing. Like a lot of people say, you know, Rock, you know, you should be a consultant after you leave. You should. I'd be like, no, I want to be the sandwich guy. I want to sell the sandwich, and I want to sell the sandwich to the people that didn't agree with me when I was doing the other thing. So I don't. You know, I'm not trying to make enemies here. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, go into a different direction. And listen, I've done that part. That part of my life is coming to an end. You know, unless the mayor win the governorship, then I'm going to have to stick around a little longer. But, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, man, you know, that part of my life, you know what I'm saying, is coming to an end. And it's time for me to think about my family and what my legacy going to be. I don't want to die at work. Me and deputy mayor catching a heart attack because somebody acting crazy or I'm getting loud and arguing with people and fighting about nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I want to go and leave something for my family, you know? And that's what I'm working on now. So I hope everybody else do that too. You know what I'm saying? That should be their goal too.
But John, isn't that important what Rock just said? He said that he want to make a sandwich for the guy that he disagreed with. Isn't that what the mayor just said? The mayor just told us a moment ago. He said it's about, you know, bringing people to the table that you disagree with, right? And have a conversation with them. Think about what Rock just said.
Organizing around food. That's right.
Yeah. I mean,
soul
that is
food,
really, really deep. Hey, Rock, man, I'm telling you tomorrow, brother. Don't have my pies. I'm coming back.
You repeated that like 4 or 5 times about the pies, man.
Hey, Rock. Hey, what time you want to go?
Hey, Rock, you know what it was like when them pies was on South Orange Avenue and mine's 25 back in the day?
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, my mother is making the pies right now. But I promise you, they'll be the first thing that go. They'll be the first thing that go. I promise you that.
All right, now another really cool thing about this is that you're not like a restaurateur by training, right? This is the first restaurant that you've opened, right? Like, so you got into it and did it. What was the process of learning about something that, like, because everybody cooks, but not everyone can run a restaurant, right? What are some of the things that you had to do in order to get to that point, right? Because I think that's really important in terms of business development. We talk about it all the time, but you took a field that you didn't have a background in, and you're developing an actual structure. What are some of the things you did to learn from that?
So to be honest with you, I'm still learning. I'm not going to try to make it seem like I know everything, but here's the thing, right? I was, you know, when I consider myself when I was a teenager doing crazy stuff, a business person. And, you know, I think, you know, I did that craziness very well. So, you know, the concept of putting money out there and putting it work for you and making a profit isn't foreign to me. You know what I'm saying? I have some sort of organization skill. Plus, I ran a business because I was a union leader. And so that gave me some sense of actually being in charge of a business. The union is a business, whether people want to understand that or not. Because you got staff, you got to pay staff, you got to get insurances, you have to run it like a business. And so I got some background in running a business. Food business is different, but I'm still learning. And to be honest with you, a lot my wife she take on the reading. Let me tell you, when you walk up in this place, and I just can't say this enough, when you walk up in this place and you see this stuff that's up in here, and you see like the trinkets and the way things designed, my wife did that. You know what I'm saying? My wife did that. My wife every night going on trying to find grants and reading stuff about business and how to run the business and do. She does that, man. She is an anchor. I'm really the sandwich cutter. I cut the sandwiches. I cook the meat. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to the business, man, she is on top of things, bro. And then I read an article the other day. It said that the best business partner you can be in is with your spouse. The notion of creating wealth outside of you and your spouse is foolishness. That if you got a good spouse, the best way to become a millionaire is you two joining together and doing something together.
Wow. Mic drop.
Wow.
Mic dropper.
Wait, can you repeat that?
Mic dropper.
I read the other day article where it said that because a lot of spouses get together and people say they want to do their separate thing. This one want to do their separate thing. And, I'm trying to read something that the best business partner you can have is your spouse. You know what I'm saying? If you want to build wealth, build it with your spouse. Don't do it separately. Don't try to get your ideas and be separate,
Well, I think one of the best things Rock said all night, besides the fact his mother's cooking them pies, was the fact that he ain't scared of his community.
That's right.
I think that's really important for all of us, because every time I go down in the Portuguese section, I always look down there and say, well, why can't we make up the hill look like down there?
Yeah.
Right? And we got to say congratulations and thank you to Rock, man, for doing that, for being one of the first brothers in our generation, man, in our age group to do it, man. So we respect.
A minute. I come out of the steak and take you. This has been a minute.
Yeah. Rock when we had all those things, man.
That's right. Yeah.
And Rock, do you know Randy from Orange? At the number one deli in Orange? I'm not gonna say names.
No, I don't know Randy.
You probably okay. I got you making me. Have you ever been to Sandwiches Unlimited?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and Randy. He would probably love one of this. He would be so happy because that's like his biggest thing, that he see more people get into the food and deli. So you should have a day and invite him down. I'm going to tell him to come down to you. And what's the number one?
You're talking about the owner, right?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I do know. I mean, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I do know the owner.
I'm trying to not say anything but Big Rocs.
You know what? But here's the thing, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think there's enough money for everybody.
Definitely.
I don't have enough food in here to serve the entire community.
That's right.
I hope people. I hope they patronize Abby's. I hope they patronize Cooper's. I hope they patronize.
Well, right now we want them to patronize Big Rocs.
Big Rocs is just trying to make his niche. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in competition with none of those brothers. Right. I know we got people live in the city of North, and I know we got millions of people that live in that, you know what I'm saying, in this area. So listen, as far as I'm concerned, you know what I'm saying?
It's enough for everybody to eat.
It's enough for everybody to go around, brother. And listen,
all the money we spend is damn sure enough.
Yeah, it's enough. Listen, trust me, it's enough. I'm gonna say it again. The line in hobbies is long because I still.
Yes.
So we got to get.
And they only open like 4 hours a day.
They only open 4 hours a day, and the line long, and those sandwiches very expensive. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody complaining. So that's why when people come up here, I'll be like, bro, y'all don't ask hobbies for no discounts, and they ain't giving them.
And I want to know, but Rock, what hip hop song, individual artist or group do you listen to when you're making them sandwiches?
I'm a little older now, so this hip-hop today, man, ain't really for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to some nice, smooth. Matter of fact, my wife got me into Southern Soul now. So,
So you listen to Southern hip-hop?
Southern Soul. You ever listen to Southern Soul? You got to listen to Southern Soul. Funky 40. Miss Wendy. Y'all ever heard them type of songs? Y'all should go check them out. But, I'm a little now, so I'm kind of slow down. But I'm rolling with Drake. I'm telling y'all right now.
Woo! That's a whole nother show. Look, that's a
I like
whole
the fact
nother
that they
show.
try to pile up on my man. And he fighting the back. Roll with my man Drake, man.
Hey, John,
Did
we have a fight with Rock about Drake in the studio?
I'm rolling with him on this one, man. You can't get piled up on my man. My man said, I don't care about. I'm taking on all y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm rolling with my man. I'm rolling with my man on that one.
But you know what, Rock? We gonna make a commitment to you right now, man. Same way I told First Lady. You know, we're gonna come up and we're gonna go live from your spot.
And you know what? Y'all can do a show for me. I would love it, man. It's set up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's definitely do it. Listen, it's set up for it, man. You know, I said when we did the restaurant portion of it, we set it up to be more like let's say like a Starbucks type of loungy type of thing where you come in, you want to do your homework, you want to meet, you know what I'm saying, you want to have meetings, whatever. Like it's really like that. People come in and be like, "Yo, Rock, this is a dope lounge." They're like, "It's a club." You know what I'm saying?
Do you plan on having DJs there sometime, like in the summer? Are you gonna have summer DJs nights?
I mean, I'm thinking about doing a karaoke night. Me and my wife big on karaoke, so we are thinking about doing a karaoke night. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about the DJ thing. I don't want to just like disturb the community, but I am thinking about doing like a karaoke night here. Definitely.
But most DJs do karaoke, so that's good.
Yeah.
But you know, Rock, we did take the mayor on. You know, we were taking him out before COVID started. So me and John are gonna talk, and we definitely gonna put together a show, and we're gonna come up and we're gonna go live. You know what I mean? Like I told the First Lady, we're gonna do it at the Winter Village. We're gonna do that with you as well, man. So we'll put something together, come down and go live. We'll do one of the shows with you down there, and and have a live audience and bring some of the people in and let them see, what a real bean pie from Mama tastes like.
That's right.
And Big Rock, can we book you? And can you get us a date for Senate for Larry for Senate?
Amen.
Senate? Can we do that there?
Listen, y'all can do that here. Listen, Larry is listen, he got my vote. You know,
okay.
I don't know these other people, man. But listen, I voted for Larry for everything he ran, and I don't know these other people, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, listen, I've never been line A all the way. I'm glad they got rid of this crazy line. I ain't never been line A all the way. Heck, I done wrote a Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck on. I thought they were more qualified. So
that's a good tech. Just vote. Go out there and
vote. Listen, you gotta. I tell people all the time, you gotta vote because at the end of the day, man, what did you talk? Why is you complaining if you don't? You need to participate. Right. And if you don't like the people running, write something in. Write your own self.
Write your name in, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because people complain about the board of education election. I said, but you know what? Listen. Politics is a sport, man. The winner is the people that participate. Right. If you ain't participating, what you talking about? You can't complain about nobody winning the basketball game if there ain't no competition.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, who out there, what are you doing? Like, if all you're going to do is complain, then you wasting your time. But listen, y'all know, man, Larry Hamm, welcome in any day. Ain't no,
all right, we'll get
my
to
brother. Ain't no question on that one.
We'll be calling you to
discuss.
Thank you,
brother. Thank you, brother.
We go back.
And thank you, man. Like, can you give us
the
address?
Hey, Jonathan, I do got to remind him, Jonathan, but there ain't no vegan food here, Larry. So don't. You don't want the fat boy style, but you want the vegan.
There's no vegan pastrami.
He out here running marathons at 70 years old. I ain't doing that.
But we can get him something over lettuce, some turkey over lettuce.
You got some French fries. You got some French fries, right?
Yeah, I got some French fries for you.
All right.
Can you give us the address of the restaurant and what time is it open tomorrow? That kind of stuff.
16 Urban Turner Boulevard. The restaurant actually opened at 11, but me and my wife are gonna do a little ceremony, probably about 10:30, where we gonna, do all those speeches and stuff, and then let everybody in and start buying food.
Okay.
Oh, let me remind them because people keep coming and talking about is it free? No, the grand opening is not free, folks. Ain't no place free. Everything here costs money. So stop coming.
People trying to say People try to get free food.
Hey, bro, I had somebody walking today talk about they want 2 sandwiches for free. It's the grand old. Like, is y'all out your mind? Like, y'all crazy, man.
Now, can we call and make an order, or do we have to wait till after the grand opening?
Oh, no, there is a number, you know what I'm saying? There's a number you can call, you know what I'm saying, on the business.
There is a number, okay.
Yeah, definitely a number to call. Yep.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you so much, man. Always an honor to have you on the show. Really
man,
glad to have you.
Man. Let's get on the show and talk some politics, man. I want to talk about this election at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Next time.
All right, Larry, man. Good luck, my brother. You know you got my
Thank you. Thank you, Rock. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
All right, Rock. Thank you, brother.
That was fun, man. Hey, Larry, welcome. Welcome to All Politics are Local. Congratulations on the line that you got for the Senate race, because I think that line was pretty good, right? Like, talk to us about what happened with the lawsuit, the lines and county lines, and how does that affect you in running for the U.S. Senate?
Well, the bottom line.
No, this is Lawrence Hamm for Senate. And many may know, but those who don't know, you will be introduced to him tonight.
All right. The bottom line is, on the county line lawsuit, it probably will help me. I know I want to try to make it as simple as possible. What the county line has to do with is how the ballot looks. Like when you get that ballot in the mail and you open it up, it looks a certain way. And the way it is designed to look was in fact intentional and to the benefit of the whatever Democratic Party is in power in that particular county. Like up here in Essex County, we always, well, we didn't say it, but people always said line A all the way, right?
Right.
Because the Essex County Democratic Organization was the party in power in Essex County. So it usually got line A when it was time to draw the ballot. And then what it would do is put all the Democratic candidates for the different offices that were backed by the regular Democratic organization. They were all on the same line all the way across. Now, people have studied this. I'm talking about political scientists and others have studied this. And the last thing I saw was that the line automatically gave a 35% advantage to whoever was on that line. And everybody knew. I mean, you didn't have to be a political scientist to know that if you got on line A, you were most likely going to get elected. So what this did, in essence, was really freeze out people who were not, say, the party choice, because the line usually, where it had its greatest strength was in the primary elections. Like we're going to have a primary on June 4th. The primary elections are always in June. And then you have the general election in November. So people thought that this was unfair. And about 10 years ago, people began to talk about this and began to challenge it. And then finally, the Working Families Party, which is not a political party in New Jersey, it's more of a political association. The Working Families Party runs its candidates through the Democratic primary. But they began to mount a challenge. And then finally, make a long story short, is Andy Kim, who is in the race along with myself, Patricia Campos Medina. Andy Kim filed a lawsuit. In fact, he sued in a number of counties across the state, and he won, because the court said, looking at all the data that had come from all the studies about this county line business, that it was inherently unfair and unconstitutional. That's what the court ruled, that this was unconstitutional. And the county registrars, that is the county administrations in each county, appealed it, and they even lost on appeal. So what has to happen now? And I thought, once the lawsuit was won at the initial level, I said, okay, they're going to win, but this is not going to be in effect for this election this June. I was wrong. Court said it's wrong. You're going to fix it, and you're going to fix it in time for the election on June the 4th. So now all these county organizations are scrambling to create their ballots in accordance with the guidance that was given from the court in its ruling against the quote unquote county line. But to put it simply, it has everything to do with how the ballot is designed, how it's drawn. And now it has to be drawn in such a way so that a group of candidates do not have an automatic advantage over everybody else. I mean, that's probably an oversimplistic explanation, but I think that'll help the average person understand what's going on here, because it can be, you can get in the weeds with this, but it's going to have an impact. It's going to have an impact on elections. And I think it's going to have some unforeseen outcomes. It's very ironic that Kim sued, when I'm talking about Kim, this is Andy Kim, the incumbent House of Representative member from Southern Jersey. Kim sued because, this is me speaking now, I'm speculating. I didn't have a conversation with Andy Kim. I believe that Kim sued because they thought that Tammy Murphy was going to get the county line.
Right.
So, when you're in an election, you're looking for every means possible to advantage yourself and disadvantage your competition. So Andy Kim sued, to bust up the county line because he thought that Tammy Murphy was going to be on that county line. But then Tammy Murphy withdrew from the election. She's not on the county line. So whereas she was the presumptive regular Democratic Party organization choice for U.S. Senate, she's out of the race. And now Andy Kim is in fact the establishment candidate now. I mean, in my eyes, he always was an establishment candidate, but he tried to position himself vis-a-vis Tammy Murphy as a more quote unquote progressive. So when Tammy Murphy withdrew out of the race, Kim's suit was still in effect. In fact, he had won the initial round, and they actually tried to make a deal with him. They said, okay, she's out. You can have the county line now. And there was a question as to what Kim was going to do. And then he's kind of caught, in a trick bag now, because, if I take their offer, then I look like a hypocrite. If I don't take their offer and I fight the county line, I might put in place a mechanism that might actually impact me in a negative way.
Right.
So, it's always, things are always more complex than they look. So my understanding is that Kim did not take the deal, and that all the county Board of Elections administrators are redesigning their ballots so that there won't be a line in all of the counties. Now, I think there were two counties that already had their ballots set up in such a way as not to advantage a particular political party. But this is for the remaining. We have 21 counties, so this affects the remaining 19 or 20 counties. So it's going to be interesting. I think that the lack of the county line, may help those of us who don't have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, to fund the campaign or self-fund our campaigns. So we might actually get some more votes. But I don't want to predict here. I think this thing could be somewhat unpredictable in terms of what the outcomes are going to be. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, this is going to be fine. It's going to help me. It's going to help everybody. We don't really know yet, and this is going to be, you can't call it a test run because there ain't going to be no do-over, but this will be, this will help us to see how this thing is going to work, from this point on out.
Demo, I saw something. I'm trying to put my hands on it as you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it right now, but I saw one ballot block design that had Patricia first, 2A, you second, 2B, and Kim 2C.
Right.
Whoa.
Now, the way that works is that they draw at an appointed day and time. Every county has a ballot draw. And so they put all the names in the drum and they turn the drum, and someone reaches in and pulls out. And that's how the positions are allotted. The first one gets 1A, the second one 2B, the third one 2C. So whereas with the county line, let's say Andy Kim might have been 1A in a whole lot of places, he's not going to be 1A in a whole lot of places. Like you said, you saw a ballot design where Patricia had the first 1A, and I think in a couple of counties I will be the first, and it'll be a mix, but the particular positions are drawn, in a kind of random selection process, kind of like how they do the lottery, right? The way they pull that ball.
Mm-hmm.
Chairman, Senator to be, I just wanted to ask you a question, and we can spend a couple minutes and go back to the Senate race on prostate.
No, I'm not withdrawing from the race.
No, I'm not asking you that. No, I don't. I'm asking you about prostate cancer. And,
oh boy.
And recently, we were all surprised that OJ died, and we learned that it was due to prostate cancer.
Lord.
I don't think we know the cause of the Black Eagle, but tonight we were talking about Kwame Ture, and
same thing.
He died, and he died of prostate cancer. So he died almost 20 years ago of prostate cancer. You survived prostate cancer, but then OJ, he dies of it. And it's something that, like, you caught and you fought, and you taught and fought. Why do you think people are still dying? Just because of late diagnosis, or?
Well, they have prostate cancer, and because prostate cancer in and of itself will not kill you. If your cancer is contained in your prostate gland, you'll have a lot of difficulty, but it won't kill you. The problem is the cancer spreads to other parts of the body. Mm-hmm. Like when I first was diagnosed, and I wasn't actually diagnosed with
prostate
with prostate cancer. When you get a certain age, most men get what's called prostatitis. Okay. Prostatitis is a swelling of the prostate gland, and this can have different impact on different men. When that prostate, because see, the prostate is like a donut that surrounds your urinary tract. Like this is the urinary tract right here, right? And the prostate is around it. And when the prostate swells up, it can heighten on the urinary tract, and a man can have difficulty urinating, or you won't have difficulty urinating, but because the prostate swells up, it pushes up against the bladder, which is on top. It pushes up against the bladder, and it gives you the feeling of having to go to the bathroom all the time, you know. And that was my dilemma, you know, when I first got the prostatitis. So when you get prostatitis, you do what? You go to a doctor. If you have a general practitioner, he'll probably refer you to a urologist. Right. You know, that's the male version of the gynecologist, right? And the urologist will subject you to some tests. And one of these tests is a PSA. And the PSA test will give you an indication as to whether or not you might have cancer. You know, when your PSA goes up beyond a certain level, the chances of you having cancer are significantly increased. Then you have to have what? You have to have a biopsy, which means for a man that they have to go in and take samples, flesh samples from your prostate, which will be analyzed in a lab. And when they look at those core samples, they usually like to take 12 samples. And that's significant because usually they go to the prostate through your anal tract. That's how they get to it. And the biopsy can be very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You know, of course, they give you some type of anesthesia, but having gone through this, I can attest that the anesthesia in and of itself is no guarantor of a painless procedure. Mm-hmm. And they have it's almost like a gun. And when they shoot it, it goes in and pulls those samples like that. And they got to do it 12 times. Don't ask me why they need 12 samples, but they need 12. And then they send them to the lab. And in the lab, when they examine those tissue samples, they can tell whether or not you have cancer. Mm-hmm. Now, depending on how far advanced your cancer is, that will determine what your treatment will be. If you're in an early stage of cancer, then they can treat you with just radiation. If you're in an advanced stage of cancer, they can treat you with radiation and chemotherapy. If you're very advanced, then they would remove the prostate gland altogether. It's not a big gland. It's actually, when it's in normal size, it's about the size of a walnut. But the problem is with the removal of the gland, the prostate gland, when they have to cut to remove the gland, there's the danger of them cutting nerves. And anyone, and I need to say this to people, for anybody that's going to have any kind of operation, this is something that happens that doctors don't tell you about. Like when I was in that bad auto accident in 2014, and they told me they were going to have to operate on me in order to drain my lungs because the fluid, I was just producing so much fluid that it wasn't, you know, being drained away through the intravenous tubes they had put into me, and they had to go in and drain the lungs. And you know, they said they were going to have to, cut an opening. And, you know, I was just curious. I said, well, what will be the side effects of, and they said, well, one side effect will be that when we cut the opening, when we make the opening, we cut into your skin and your muscle tissue, we may cut some nerves. and you will have numbness in that area. Now, sometimes the feeling returns after the operation heals, and in time you grow, because you can grow new nerves, you know, but sometimes it doesn't, the nerves don't grow back, don't reconnect, and you stay numb in that area. So with the prostate, if they have to remove the prostate gland, there's a danger that they could cut nerves that go to the man's penis. And this can cause erectile dysfunction. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of men don't want
to get checked.
To get checked. They don't want to have operation because they're afraid that if they have an operation, that they may end up with the erectile dysfunction. In fact, if they remove your prostate, you will have some, it's not a guess, you will have some erectile dysfunction. Now, in time, you know, there are drugs that can, you know, be taken to help with that. But a lot of guys don't want to pursue medical help. And this is a problem. When I first, you know, after I had my biopsy and it was clear that I had some cancer, I started talking to people. One of the people I was talking to was Larry Adams. He didn't have prostate cancer, but he knew a mutual friend we had who did, and he got treated at Sloan Kettering. And I talked to him, but what he told me was he waited so long to get the treatment. He finally came around and said, I got to get this taken care of. But by the time he went in and got examined, the cancer had spread from his prostate to his pelvis. Yeah. In other words, it had become bone cancer.
Yes, very painful.
And that's very painful, and it's very serious. So how should men approach this? Every man should have a urologist, particularly if you're like 45 years old and older. Every man, just like women go to a gynecologist, men should go to a urologist. And you should, just like we go for a colonoscopy, right? Every 5 years to make sure you don't have cancer of the intestine, you should be tested, you know, to make sure your PSA levels are low and that you don't have cancer. The earlier you catch it, the better. Like I caught mine early. In fact, the doctor said to me that if I was just a little older, he said he wouldn't even treat me. He said, because something else will kill you before the prostate cancer will. You know, you get it's kind of, you know, an approach now that if you're like 70 and above, they might not even treat you. But if you're like in your 50s and you have cancer, yeah, you want to get that treated, because that cancer is not going to stay just there. Cancer cells can dislodge themselves. They can go into the bloodstream. They can they are free radicals, and they can become all kinds of other cancer. So it's better, you know, to get it treated, because a lot of brothers, you know, because one of the examinations, like when you go to the urologist, it's a digital examination, the first exam, you know, and digital means they use their hands and their fingers, right? Mm-hmm. And they go in through the anal tract with their fingers, and they can feel the prostate. They can tell if it's abnormal, if it is an abnormal size. Right. And a lot of men, you know, they feel a certain kind of way about their manhood and all that other stuff. But let me tell you something. It's better to be alive. You know, you can have all that machismo and be dead. It won't matter. I would advise brothers, you know, to have a urologist, to get checked up to have an annual checkup, you know, because if you do the very thing that you're concerned about, you will be able to preserve, you know, that pleasurable aspect, you know, for a longer period of your life, you know. But if you neglect it and let it become, you know, a terminal disease, then it's not going to matter.
Right. Well, thank you for that. And that would so when you become Senator Hamm, will that be something you continue, you know, from you can from I'm saying, because a lot of people, especially in our young in our community, urban communities, don't, like you said, that test is very challenging for them. So I hope that's something and that you can put out where, you know, you have maybe a bus coming to the communities and things like that. Like you, if you can remember, you know, when AIDS they first got out, they did a lot of to, you know, make sure that people weren't
Right.
continually, you know. So I hope it
Right.
continues. Is
Right.
and so as you're on the Senate trail and you're going, and I know you're doing something every day, do you have that earphone, that speaker in your ear to allow you to inspire you before you get out and speak with a hip hop song?
I don't know. Most of the time, man, let me tell you, I'm moving so hard now, I don't even get to listen to music. Like today, I was at the Islamic Center of Passaic County in Patterson. I spoke to 2 services. I've been in more mosques in the last 2 months since February than I have in my than all other combined in my entire life. Now, this am I saying I've never been to mosque? But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that more doors have opened to me from the Muslim community than I have ever experienced before, and it has everything to do with my position on Gaza.
Absolutely.
Right.
It has everything to do with that. The Muslims community are very, very outraged, concerned, even traumatized to a degree. You know, I have met people. Now, I'm not talking about something I read or seen on TV. I have met people who told me, and I'm not exaggerating here, I lost 120 members of my family since Israel invaded Gaza. I've lost 40 members. I've lost 60. I have met these people. It's not some people I read about, saw in the interview. I met these people. They walk up to me and they say, brother, I lost 120 members of my family. You know, and I mean, and I have been humbled. I mean, it's a humbling experience. And I'm going to tell you, you know, like when I went to the Islamic Center of Bergen County in Hackensack, I went up there to their mosque. There were easily 300 men in the room where they had the prayer. And the women and children, you know, they're in a separate area of the center. But it's something to see. You know, I've seen it like in the movies and stuff, but, you know, to see 300 men shoulder to shoulder performing, what is it called, Zai? Salat?
That's right.
Salat. It's something to see. And then to hear, like today when I was at the Islamic Center in Patterson, just to hear them all say together, Amen. You know, to hear like 300 men say that together is like, you know, it's like a holy word, you know, it's a holy breath. And, you know, I've really been humbled by the warm welcome I have received. I've been in more mosques than I have been in churches during this campaign season.
Wow. And let me put a footnote on that.
Wow.
Today is the anniversary of Malcolm completing his Hajj. Tomorrow anniversary, the 60th anniversary of him dropping that open letter about his Hajj experience. I have to share that tomorrow.
Right. So and you know what, Zaid? Today, when I was in the mosque, I thought about Malcolm. Like, it's funny. In all the other visits, I had to all the other mosques, but for some reason, today, when I was in the mosque in Patterson, I thought about Malcolm. And I thought about, I'm like, wow, I'm like, you know, in the kind of like in the footsteps to a degree, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, in a symbolic kind of way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's deep, man. It's very, very deep. And the Muslim community in New Jersey is, I think, going to become an increasing political force. I don't know if they're there just yet, but you can see it. That like all the ingredients are there.
We have the Michigan example, and you need to comment on that.
Right.
Mission committed example.
Right. Well, in Michigan, when they had the primary, folks voted uncommitted, and that has caught on like wildfire across the country. That is, in the primary election, when it comes to president, I'm speaking hypothetically here. We're talking about the Democratic primary. So you got President Biden. In Michigan, Marianne Williamson was on the ballot. And then you have another button for uncommitted. People felt they wanted to send a message to Joe Biden. They wanted to vote in the primary, but they wanted to vote in such a way that it would express their dissatisfaction with the foreign policy. So when the idea came out to vote uncommitted in Michigan, initially they thought they would get about 10,000 votes. 101,000 people voted uncommitted in the Democratic primary.
That's a city.
And yes, and then that has continued in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, and in other states. And uncommitted is on the ballot here in New Jersey. The Democratic Socialists of America, New Jersey chapters, they have North and South and Central, I think. They got uncommitted on ballot. They had to go through every delegate district and get signatures. Unlike myself, like I needed 1,000 signatures. I could have got all my signatures out of Newark. I would count it. To get something on the ballot, they had to get so many signatures in every area of the state, you know, and they got it. And it's on. And I have said that I'm going to vote uncommitted in the primary because I am dissatisfied with Biden's foreign policy. I mean, this situation in Gaza is going to go down probably after the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan as the third biggest foreign policy blunder, you know, to give Israel carte blanche, and then they turn around and commit genocide. And then if we even say something about it, you know, Netanyahu says, kiss my ass, you know. I mean, that's what he's doing. And how do we react? We get more money. They're getting ready to give them a bill. In addition, I just heard today, they're trying to give them $1 billion more.
Right.
You know,
Russia has called for sanctions against Israel.
Right. I issued a statement today. Zaid, you got it. I sent it to you. I issued a statement today.
Absolutely.
Calling for Biden not to get involved in any war with Iran, not to let Israel draw us into any war with Iran. But I also call for economic sanctions against Israel the same way we had economic sanctions against South Africa. South Africa was an apartheid state. Bishop Tutu, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International all say that Israel and President and former President Jimmy Carter, let's not forget him.
That's right.
Have said that Israel is an apartheid state.
That's right.
And I want to salute those students at Columbia University that the police beat up and arrested yesterday and today. They had a tent city to call on Columbia to divest.
Out there, you know that, right?
And they sent the police in on them, and they arrested one of the ones they arrested and suspended was Ilhan Omar's daughter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes, she was a student at Columbia. Yep, she was one of the ones arrested and has been suspended.
That's right.
As a result, it's a real kind of McCarthyism that's going on now. You can't criticize Israel foreign policy without being doxxed, without your personal information being put out there.
You have the valedictorian at USC.
Yes.
You have what's going on at Columbia. It's so bad that one of the New York Times columnists was literally making fun of and just pointing out the outrageousness of the Columbia professor who was testifying before Congress today.
Yes,
it's just bad, right? Right, but was doing the opposite of the other presidents, but was going so far overboard, as in like, yes, we're cracking down on everybody. They shouldn't be allowed to say like for real, right? Like at a certain point, like you're not like South Africa has brought a legitimate case against Israel, like that it's credible that it's credible, right? That genocide could be taking place. You have mainstream Foreign Affairs magazine, right? Like that is a center-right publication making mainstream articles about like it is Israel is an apartheid state, right? Like and I think their exact language was, if it's not apartheid, it's close enough. It's apartheid-like, right? Like as in you can't deny. You might want to say technically it's not race, but it is what it is, right? So these things, but to be told you can't speak at a commencement rally, you can't it's one of those things where it's like, given the brutality of over 30,000 people dead,
right?
Given that we are literally having conversations about famine, like people starving to death, that's a real conversation of we need to get in more food, but not sanction the people who are causing famine, right? The crazy thing right now is that like, I do think Netanyahu wants to get us into a larger war on Iran to change the subject. And it's kind of like wag the dog, right? But he's being pressured against it. Because they talk about Iran throwing all those missiles at Israel, but Israel bombed an embassy in Syria, killing generals and high-level officials. There was an embassy. An embassy is the equivalent of a landmass, right? Like that is the actual. Like you attack an embassy, you are attacking the nation, right? That's an escalatory thing. They weren't attacking just random troops in Syria, right? No, they attacked an actual embassy and killed high-level officials in it. And the restraint that the wild thing was going on was the restraint. Like Iran sent a bunch of missiles, but they took or a bunch of drones that took 3 hours to get there, which is why all of them were shot down. I mean, that was deliberate. It was like
Israel is a major military superpower in the world. The 11th most well-funded and stocked military on the earth. That little country, about 6 million deep, is a military superpower, right? And for all of Iran's courage, right? Iran's military does not anywhere come close to Israel's military capacity, particularly when it comes to air and missiles and that kind of military armament and whatnot. But the hypocrisy is how it's portrayed. Oh, Iran attacked Israel. No, Iran responded.
That's right.
To being attacked by Israel.
That's right.
But it played a broken record throughout mainstream media.
Right.
Iran. So there's this continued demonization of anything critical of Israel. It's something that fits the imperial agenda of the United States in relationship to Iran, right? Remember,
Right.
Adima, remember this. You remember that old UN resolution that said Zionism is a form of racism, and how did it end? It is a threat to world peace. We are seeing it act out right now in live and living color.
No, I
That's
know
right.
that we are this is a good conversation, but I know we're about that time. We're gonna, of course, there's some just things that we want to do at the end of the program tonight as well, right? Like one, I think all of us can join into this and our prayers for our very good friend, Congressman Payne. Like the
Yes.
so yeah, I obviously friend of the show and friend of us, right? Like he's someone we dialogue, have conversations with, and about. Like some people can talk about him like he's a public figure, but to us, he's not a public figure.
He's
He's our brother.
family.
He's our friend. Right, exactly. So we want to definitely express, our prayers, and we want to have him back and well, and for our conversations to continue. I've been messed up all week, right? Like I think I called Ed because we thought that it was a lot less serious. We started reading the newspaper articles, so our prayers obviously go out, right? Like to our
That's
friend
right.
to get better as well. So I know DJ Rhino. Shout out to DJ Rhino.
Yeah, he
He's
wanted me to. Did you get the note from him, John?
to talk about the passing of Rico Wade.
Rico, yes.
And is the producer behind Conscious Hip Hop from the South, Outkast, Goody Mob, Nappy Roots, TLC, and more. And I know that when he comes back, no one can break anything down like DJ Rhino. So when he comes back, that'll be broken down. But I know that Ed, like I know that you probably have some stuff to say as well as we close out the program.
Well, I think that Kim and I went by the hospital yesterday, and we didn't get an opportunity to see him because he was in the middle of getting a procedure. And
Wow.
we didn't get an opportunity to go by. So, we'll wait on his family to give me a call and let me know when I can. But we wanted to check on him. But we wanted him to know, obviously, number one, because he's a member of this show. We do the pain report with him, and we've been doing it with him for 12 years.
Right. Since like 2012, 2013.
Yeah. He was still at that point on
the
council.
Yeah, he was on the council. So at the moment he became the congressman, we started producing a show with him. So but stopped by, with his family yesterday, and so they all know that we're all pulling for him. That's one, and then two, obviously, Todd is a friend of mine, right? Someone I've known. Obviously, I didn't grow up with Todd, but I take offense to that, right? What he said about the congressman, and I want to stand up for Congressman Payne. Congressman Payne has never said he was Mayor Baraka, right? He is who he is, right? And he may not think he is a strong representative for us, but I tend to disagree with Todd, and I disagree with him respectfully. And I want to say that publicly because I want Congressman Payne to know that I did that, right? So for someone to come on here and to offend anybody that is a member of this show and somebody that show that we produce, out of respect, I'm going to stand up for that brother and clearly say that he is our congressman. He's our representative. He was elected to that seat, and you could have your opinion, but I think when you say that, in terms of his representation, that we need a strong representative, well, that's your opinion, right? And I'm not going to allow you to come on this show and do that, Todd. I think that was disrespectful, and I do think you owe that brother an apology, man. And to come on our show and do that was not correct, and I think you should apologize to us because we gave you the space to do that. And clearly, if you were someone else, we would have cut you off and just removed you from the show. But we didn't do that to you out of respect. But I want the family to know, so that if they hear that, to know that not only did I stand up for my brother, but all of us clearly reject that kind of language as it relates to the conflict, particularly
when he's down
in his life, with him on his back, right, fighting for his life. We're definitely not make those kind of statements. And so right now, I just want to say
that too, by the way, Ed, when that was said, I have to say that too.
Right. We're praying for Congressman Payne. We're sending our love to him, because this is not only a fight for him, this is a fight for his family, and it is a fight for his community. So I just want to say to the family that we're praying for you all. And Congressman Payne, we love you, my brother, and we believe, God, that you're going to make it through.
Amen.
Let me just say one last thing also, we were supposed to have another guest on, and quite frankly, I got so caught up in so much stuff today, I forgot to send her. I didn't send her the link until late. I don't know if she even was able to try and get on or not. But tomorrow is an important march, a fresh air march, led by the Ironbound Community Corporation, the Stellar Environmental Justice Organization here in Newark for over 40 years, and the New Jersey Environmental Justice Alliance doing a fresh air march coming from the Down Bottom Farm. That's what they call it, farm at 391 Ferry Street at 12 noon. That I will be among many participating in that, because Newark is also one of the national leaders on the fight for environmental justice. I want to apologize to Chloe Desir and to my family at ICC for that she didn't wasn't able to get on, right? But I definitely want to shout that out, and we'll be very present tomorrow in support of it. Hey, we need to make a time to go see Rock Space and go get them bean pies and them sandwiches.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, brother. Yeah, that's for real.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's 12 noon, all y'all. 12 noon. Everybody say 12 noon.
And we'd like to thank all of our
Ferry Street, Newark.
And thank you for all the guests coming on tonight. As we end the program, Donna will let you end it out.
Okay, I just wanted to say, that wasn't nice, and I don't like things to run on on a negative tone. I think there are enough issues in our community to talk about, and people want to hear how we're going to solve the problem, not bring more chaos to it. So please, Congressman Payne, I love you, and get better soon. And I just want to say in closing, you were looking at 1, 2, 3 people. I can't speak for Ed and Jonathan, but really who have been, questionable on their way out here. Larry spoke to it when he was talking about it. Me when I was in the hospital with COVID, and then Zaid, you also. So don't count anybody out until they are not. You don't know.
Right.
You just don't know.
Right.
Thank you.
That's it, Jonathan.
Yeah. All right, and thank everyone. And all of our guests today, the mayor and everyone who came on. And until next week, right? Until next week, we will talk to you later. Good luck on the Senate race, and I'm glad for your position, Larry.
Yes,
yeah,
boost.
Thank you.
It's a boost.
Vote, vote, vote. Get out and vote. Make sure you can vote.